5 minutes ago. You can go ahead and shoot Sean a link.
Oh, okay. I think I already did. Maybe I did.
Oh, okay.
I think I planned on it, and then I decided to carry on with my life. No. Oh shit!
I was about to, and then I didn't.
What was that? What was that movie? Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah,
that's a great movie.
That's a great flick. Great
it is.
Flick.
He was like, "Did you listen to my tape? You know, I was gonna do that, and then I just decided to carry on with my life." He's all. It kind of sounds like an emo Neil Diamond or whatever. He's like, "Fuck, you're cool, dude." Well, anyway,
and on that note, check out DJW Art, and he's got some pretty cool stuff there to get as far as like art. And then check out everybody on our individual channels and streams and whatnots on X or whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikToks, all that. If you want some apparel, jump over to TeePublic, grab some shirts. Support is always welcome. And we might have somebody on the show.
We may.
I guess we'll just do an intro.
Do it.
No, you gotta tickle their balls a little bit.
You just had to ruin that.
I did.
You have kind of ruined that.
Yeah, that was just...
All right, guys, so that's the show. Thanks for coming.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the 4Nerds. I'm joined by Ryan Zeeverfett. You can find him on his channel called Zeeverfett. And then we're also joined by Phil Barker of Unfiltered on
Twitch.
On Twitch, but on Threads. I was called streams.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Threads.
Now is Threads is a completely different platform, or is it an addition to a different platform?
It's more like a spin-off of Instagram. Think of like Instagram without the photos, but operates a lot like Twitter and Blue Sky. Much more cleaner.
You know, for sure. I've been on Instagram a lot more lately, and it's so much nicer over there.
It is.
On Twitter, everyone just wants to shit on you like constantly.
I can't tell you the last time I actually posted something on Twitter because I didn't give a shit. But I can't remember the last time I actually posted something. I've made some comments here and there, but other than that, I'm just not on it.
Yeah, the big difference is like everyone posts whatever they want, and then you don't have a bunch of trolls coming into your shit. And if you do, you can even like mute, block them, or even an additional feature, hide for everyone. So even if someone comes in and tries to troll you, you can just be like, oh, hide for everyone. So no one has to fucking see that dumb bullshit. It's pretty cool.
I love hiding from everyone.
It's great.
I'm just kidding. So guys, what's going on? I mean, how was your week? You know, obviously last night we had a new episode of X-Men 97. I'm sure Ryan didn't even watch it.
I haven't.
Godzilla X Kong. The new Empire came out, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Cool. And of course, we had some breaking news when it came to Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
We did.
Today.
Oh, wow.
Of all
I don't
days.
know anything.
And Fantastic Four too.
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that.
Some sort of rumor about Lex Luthor having making a clone of Superman or some shit.
Yeah, I heard about that rumor.
Oh, okay. So there is that rumor that's running around.
Okay.
I don't think it's real, but you know, everyone's making videos about it. And just so if anyone's not aware of it, it's the rumor is that David Cornsweet is rumored to play multiple or different versions of the same character. Basically, he's supposed to be playing more than one character. So everyone's saying, oh, so maybe he'll be playing another version of himself, possibly Ultraman. I'm gonna give him a put it back.
Oh, hold on.
Hey, come here.
Quit trying to. He's a pickpocket. Watch out! Watch out, Superman! He's gonna. I think he stole that guy's wallet.
I think he took his wallet. I think he took his wallet.
That's what you remind me of. That's funny.
We got Phil with he knitted a Pokeball right there.
I didn't knit that. I bought that.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm. At a con.
No! It's just dumb.
Why?
Oops, that was the wrong one.
I was like, why would you do that?
My hand was hovering over it. I clicked on it. Oh, shit.
Click.
So yeah, so there is that rumor that Corran Sweat's playing more than one character. Some are speculating that it could be that he's playing like Ultraman, or he's playing another version of Superman in this movie.
I think what they'll do, if they do it, which they probably won't, is if they do it and make it Ultraman, it won't be the Ultraman that you know from, like, you know, they're not gonna like meld that character together from a different, you know, Earth or whatever. It's just they're just gonna call him that or whatever. You know, it's just gonna be the mantle of you know what they call that creation.
Oh, sorry about that. Phil,
is that
you were
all?
saying.
Okay, all right, hey guys, thanks for coming by. We appreciate all of your support as always.
So I saw
but I think
this,
it's just a name only, is what I mean.
I saw this rumor earlier today on Threads from one mutual, and I had seen initially he was like, "Oh well, you know, I don't believe this rumor about Superman," and me and another mutual were like, "Oh, what the fuck are you talking about?" And he was like, "Oh well, there's this goofy rumor going around that fucking a version of Bizarro or Ultraman may or may not be the villain of Superman not Legacy, but like the Superman movie." And I was like, okay, where did this rumor originate from? Because you know me, I'm always like, who's the source on this? Where is this information coming from?
RPK?
No, it was not Daniel RPK. It was actually Can We Get Some Toast? And the thing about that account is someone very close to that world, in that world of, you know, entertainment and whatnot, has confided in me and a few other people that a couple weeks ago that studios are actively trying to figure out who the fuck is running that account, because it is actively leaking legitimate information. It may or may not be true. I don't know whether or not they go through with like doing a Bizarro Ultraman. Personally, with James Gunn being the comic book nut that he is, I could see him doing Bizarro. I don't necessarily see him calling it Ultraman. Although, from what I understand, Daniel RPK was trying to spin some bullshit about the Crime Syndicate not too long ago, so I don't know.
I just think Crime Syndicate doesn't make any sense to introduce him right now.
It really doesn't,
really
right?
Soon.
No. It's way too early for that, and that wouldn't be. That's what I was saying. In name only, you know, it would be a clone of Superman, but it would be used to tarnish his name, and that's why they were going to have. There was an actor that, you know, is no longer in the film because they were going to have it set in the Middle East, and they were going to have him, like, you know, do something, or there was going to be something that happened in the Middle East that sort of made headlines or whatever, and sort of, you know, the speculation is that Lex's creation or clone or whatever was going to tarnish Superman's good name. He was going to, you know, sort of do something in this third world country or whatever. So then, because of the conflict or whatever going on in the Middle East, they moved it over to just a European
it's like
nation
Eastern
instead.
European, I think is what it's going to be. Okay, thank you for that, Ryan.
You're welcome. Moving on.
I know. Now back to you. No,
Supergirl, Girl of Tomorrow. What's up with that?
Well, so when we stay on Superman real quick, I think that, you know, a Bizarro could easily be a villain that, you know, it's kind of brought to life by Lex Luthor. But then again, I think if you do that, you're kind of treading on the BVS kind of, you know, Lex Luthor creates something to stop Superman. Yeah. But then again, I mean, that's kind of what he does. Much better than the Superman Returns, where he's trying to make land to control the world. That was like, land. So it's you, Kumar, and two other henchmen, and you're going to stop the U.S. military from showing up being like, we want this land. Get out of the way. It was
I have property rights.
It was so weird. I was like, this is what they came up with? Like,
it's what they came up with.
If it was an animated movie, even then it would be hard to believe. But
it would be.
Go ahead.
No, you know, go ahead.
I don't think he'll be playing two versions of the same character. I don't, unless they want to lean heavily into like the multiverse aspect. But I mean, at this point, I would think that they want to lean heavily into just being one universe that they're in, as opposed to a multiverse. Because we already tried that, and that didn't go very well. And Marvel, even for them, it hasn't gone very well. So why are we trying to? You know, why is DC trying to do that? And I don't think
I don't think they're doing the multiverse thing either. If they do the clone of Superman or whatever, I think it's just for a small, you know, like isolated sort of thing, you know, And then it might set the stage for Bizarro. He may be Bizarro, or it might, open up for, a clone Conner-L maybe later on. We'll see.
I mean, Lex Luthor is notorious for trying to clone Superman on multiple occasions.
Right.
So,
and it'd be cool because I would definitely love to see Superman's lore sort of opened up. Give me John Henry Irons. Give me Hank Henshaw. Show me who they are before they become who they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'd like to have something enriched like that. Easter eggs here and there, whatever, not just the core, like, okay, we got Jimmy Olsen, check. We got Lois Lane, check. Lana Lang, anyone? Like it's
Lana Lang?
Lana
Perry
Lang.
White.
Yeah, Perry White as well. But I mean, like, show me some other Superman characters that exist, that's something that we've never really, even in Man of Steel, you don't really open up and show a lot of that world because they were too busy focused on, the Justice League world building that way, kind of taking the focus off of the inhabitants of Metropolis.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just look at the stuff that by he, I mean James Gunn, that he's hinted at. I mean, obviously Kingdom Come has an influence on this. Superman for All Seasons has an influence on this. All-Star Superman has an influence on this. Not one of those stories feature a Bizarro or an Ultraman in any fashion whatsoever. But, he could be holding something up his sleeve that he hasn't revealed to the public. Oh, excuse me. In terms of, where he got inspiration from for this movie, keeping things a surprise. And honestly, if you wanted to showcase any kind of range and differentiate a Superman actor, unlike you have done before, then yeah, you could arguably have him portray, Superman proper, and then, an evil clone, Bizarro-ish version, whatever the fuck. And, showcase, at least give the actor a chance to showcase his range, because obviously we've only seen versions of Superman where he's either, very light, very gentle, like Christopher Reeve, or, he's very human, like Henry Cavill, and always contemplating the serious moments of the world. Like, it would just be a different showcase of what we could see. You could see, in a way, both sides of what he is capable of and what he is not capable of, more so than what Henry Cavill was intended to do, as we all know, right?
Yeah. No, definitely.
I mean, personally, if you make me choose, I'd prefer Bizarro. Like, I don't really need a whole Ultraman, because that in and of itself is just going to piss off DC fans, and we're never going to hear the fucking end of it. Oh, James Gunn fucking did Ultraman when it wasn't even Ultraman. It's like, shut the fuck up. What's up, Sean?
And Sean here, direct from his Xavier Mansion study.
Godfather.
And look, he just came from the Superman world premiere. Can you tell us about the movie?
Breaking news.
Where did you get that shirt? Is that from Ryan's T Public?
No,
they may have taken it down before.
I've actually tried accessing Ryan's T Public, and it always comes up with page can't be found.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All this time, that link never worked.
Are you kidding?
Let
me go look.
No, I tried it probably 2 weeks ago.
Are you serious?
I sent you
a bunk link.
I sent you.
Did.
I sent you a note. Obviously, it must have somehow got lost in the.
No, I remember you made.
It was a comment. It was one. It was a comment.
Because Dawson was like, "Oh, it says the links don't work. I'll have to check on that." I don't think you ever did. this whole time. No.
Oh well. I'll look
check out my T Public account. It's a bunk URL, so get ready for that. There we go.
What are you doing, man?
There's a website called superherostuff.com.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
He's like, "Oh, go to my T Public."
no, go to Ryan's
that
website.
Who gave him a link?
Well,
Who gave him the link? Yeah. How did this guy get in here?
Because Ryan's sponsored by. Because Ryan's site wasn't working out, this was my alternate site to go to.
There we go. See, you gave him no choice.
I needed something.
You forced his hand.
I was forced.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They got
they have I have like tons of stuff, but that's where depending on, and even as movies release, they'll do merchandise specifically on.
Really?
Like when Deadpool 3 drops, they'll start doing Deadpool 3.
Oh wow.
Stuff. Yeah. So when they did Justice League, and even Zack Snyder's Justice League, they started releasing shirts, sweaters, hats around that film.
Yep.
And So yeah, there's stuff and they run sales all the time, whether it's hats, hoodies. I mean, they have tons of stuff.
The shirt you're wearing right now is only $20 on there right now.
Oh,
right?
that's really cool. I wonder how they didn't get theirs taken down, but Ryan did.
But you should be going to Ryan's site first. That should be your go-to first, everybody. Then go to
actually, guys. I want you to stop at DJWart.com
or go to DJ Wart.
Wow,
right there. Maybe I just need to update that.
Wow,
but
that
that link
steel shirt
works.
too. Holy shit, that's dope.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out for sure. Then.
Dude, this website's actually pretty fucking cool. I'm looking at it right now.
Here, pull it up. Can you share your screen? I want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this crap? Oh, it's Ryan's.
Oh,
Hold on 1 second.
Do you want to pin it to the chat?
Hold on 1 second. Here we are.
And I'm still awaiting the release and drop of Ryan's prints. I know
I'm actually looking into buying a.
Wow, look
printer.
at that.
Yeah, I just did a general search of Superman, so they've got all
It's got
this.
how
shit
can
right
the
here.
hat? I like the hat.
Dude, check this hat
How
out.
can they have
Yeah,
it?
that.
So
Yeah,
when you if you start
mine
looking
are
at hats, they have they have like
Yep.
fitted hats, like size, like the actual size.
That's
They also have
crazy.
stretch
Yep.
fit and snapback. So
Look at the Mundies. Look at the Mundies. I
Look
want
at
the
that.
Mundies. I want
The
those
one,
socks,
the one
dude.
above the socks was the one from ZSJL. That's the black suit Superman boxers.
so just a quick superherostuff.com. If you're out there, we are looking for sponsors. So feel free to sponsor.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, guys, if you want to
And there's the
sponsor us,
shirt Sean has
we
on right
are
there.
down. Maybe I'll reach out to them and see if they want to sponsor the show. Maybe we'll get some
Hey,
free boxers and
What's the
underwear.
worst they can say? No?
$20.
No.
Look at
You
that.
never know till
I
you
want to get the
do.
light switch.
You never know till
Right?
you ask.
I want that ring.
Wow.
Ooh, that ring's kind of
Nice.
nice.
Look at the watch.
Look at those trunks.
I really
Look at those trunks.
I really deterred this show.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all good. We were talking about Superman. We're still talking about
Okay.
Superman.
Yeah, we were
Okay.
actually just talking about Superman. In fact, let me
I
ask
want
you
that.
guys-
Is it the
I
want
Ultraman?
I want
Ultraman
that
rumor?
shirt right there. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Ultraman rumor. I don't
Okay,
believe
okay.
it's true, but you know,
Yeah, I mean when you look at the character just from the comic
Oh,
books
that's
and what
sick.
and three what the character is versus what the rumor is, it doesn't really align, right? Especially when they're using the throw around the term clone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it's not necessarily coming from the actual origins of the character. So unless he's taking aspects from different storylines, like for example, Reign of Superman, when we know Lex Luthor cloned Superboy, but we
Yeah.
know what that clone was based off of.
Right.
And I'm not
Right.
saying-
I think it starts off with Bizarro because he was number one, clone one, and then because that was a fail, he kept going back and
Correct.
and sort of redoing it, and so they sort of accelerated growth in him, so he was an adult. That's why he has sort of a mind of a child or whatever. But with Connor, they kind of left him in the cryogenic tube for however
Mhm.
long, so he's sort of kind of like Boba Fett,
Yeah.
versus the clones, he sort of grows up,
Ooh.
and that's why he's a better clone.
Yeah, I mean, especially with I'm definitely taking the news with a grain of salt. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if it materializes into something, but what that something is and how they can actually make it work, we'll have to wait and see.
I just hope that they're not throwing too much.
Well, it already feels like that though. This is how
it does
feels,
because of
like
all the extra
another-
heroes and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is just an hour and 45 minute, 2 hour and 5 minute cameo.
I think this is going to be an epic
film.
4-hour film, so they can tell all the.
that's too long. We need more
story
butts and
arcs.
seats.
but at some point, I mean,
at that.
he's obviously not, and maybe he is, and we just don't know. But he's obvious from what we've seen thus far from the castings and who is going to be in this film, and now this new rumor comes up.
Yeah,
At some point, someone needs to tell James, "Hey, enough's enough. We don't need to introduce any more." Someone needs to kind of tap him on the shoulder and say, "Hey, we're tapped out here." Because at some point, you're going to overkill this film with so many characters. How are you really? And I know we're not doing origin stories. We're already going into a developed superhero kind of verse, so to speak.
Sure.
But
Right.
you still have to somehow introduce these characters within the story. You can't just like Ultraman, if it turns out to be true, you just drop him right at what hour and 15 minutes, and everyone's supposed to know who he is. I mean, that's not going to work. Your general audience isn't gonna. They're going to be confused. They will be confused at that point.
No, I think it'll be sort of like, you know, if they do go that route, you know, they're just sort of kind of cut back to like, okay, Lex is, you know, because Lex was a scientist originally.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and James Gunn tweeted something out with like, you know, he was when he brought up Beast, who I forget the guy's name, and at the end of that you know, tweet or thread or whatever it was that he posted, he had a couple of emojis behind it, and it was like, you know, sort of science-esque, like a double helix, I think was one of them, and then a pill and something else, just to kind of show, hey, you know, this sort of, I guess, the science version of Lex. So
I imagine it's probably going to be a healthy mix of like evil scientists, corrupt businessmen, something like that. If he's, you know, if he wants to honor both ends of the character. So
I've always liked the President Lex, just the one that's like an untouchable.
Yeah,
Sure,
I mean, it might be a President Lex. Who knows? The exactly.
Well, James Gunn knows.
Well, only James Gunn, Peter Safran knows. So if we don't hear from them,
to be fair, James Gunn, Peter Safran, Nicholas Hoult, pretty much everyone else
Yeah, everybody
working on that movie knows.
Come on, Andre.
It's like, am I the president or what am I? Just read the lines and don't think about it. Okay.
Read the cue cards.
Anthony says, nice shirts. Yeah, this is a cool website. I'm definitely gonna check this one out.
Right.
Look at the PlayStation mug. That's
Yeah.
badass.
Right. I
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah,
Look at that shredder wallet.
You
Oh,
could
fuck.
spend a good amount of time on this site just scrolling through the pages.
Oh,
that
God.
they have.
Oh, they've got Daredevil in Shadowland. Oh my God.
So yeah, so yes, they they
Yeah.
do get exclusive like releases on some things too. So
Wow,
just
that's
be aware of
interesting.
that.
Dope.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get me some of this shit. Oh, Joker, Heath Ledger deck.
Joker.
Yeah, but they definitely got a little something for everybody, depending upon what your
Budget.
budget. Oh yeah, you're definitely
your
'cause
budget,
you can-
really.
by the time you start adding shirts and stuff, I mean that cart total can definitely add up.
Oh, it
Yeah.
can balloon pretty quickly. So.
It can. But like I said, but I think if you're obviously
Call
if you
me.
guys were to create an account, I think they actually give you for your first order like 10 or 15% off your first order, and they constantly send like coupons and sales to your email. And I'm not, and just to be clear, I'm no way affiliated with the site. I don't.
I know. I was gonna
site.
say.
I'm not part of the site.
Are you
I'm
our
a
way
cu-
in?
He's not affiliated with us.
I'm a customer of the site. It's one of those few sites where you can
Incredible.
find, like
If
of
he
a
turns
vast
off his green
variety.
screen, that's all you see
Yeah.
behind him. All the
Yeah,
website
just all
shit.
it actually says superherostuff.com. on the wall.
He's like, I'm also the CEO and the owner. Oh God!
He goes on to his next stream. It's like, hey, have you guys checked out superherostuff.com?
But I like the fact that it just has a variety
is
of
a cooking show.
all the various characters, right? It's not just specific to like DC or Marvel. It's like tons of different characters. So
Yeah.
it definitely has a lot of stuff. But
So-
Ryan, I mean, was the link working or?
My link works.
Well,
I
put it in
I'll
the
try,
chat.
I'll try it again. I'll try it again. later then.
I put it in the chat. So
Okay.
that link pulls it up for me.
All right,
I'll try it right now.
we'll have to try it out.
But yeah, I got to go back and add some more stuff to
Nope,
it. 'cause I mean,
it pulled up. Okay, let me.
Oh.
he's
His
like,
eyes
well,
get big for a second. He's like, wait, what?
It's like
No, the last time, literally your banner.
It
none
says
of this-
DMCA as a.
DCMA.
Yeah, your banner, none of this stuff was here. Literally just
DMCA,
said
yeah, you're
like
right.
404
was like,
error.
DCMA.
Can't be found.
Yeah, maybe there's something going on with the site, but no, I'm still.
But there is a
Still active.
record. There is a recorded record of me stating, as Andre put out, I said the link wasn't working. Please look
Yeah,
into
I remember
this."
that. I remember Dawson saying, "Oh, I gotta check that out." But I don't know if he actually did or not. So, actually, guys, I want to kind of break in this real quick because we have some breaking news that just hit the internet. Let's take a look at this. Apparently, this is the concept art for what the Sony Universe Spider-Man introduced in Madam Web would have looked like, and this is it right here.
That's kind of dope.
There's also a rumor too that more than likely this was probably used during the pitch for the movie, and that they really
to get everybody.
they
on
really had no
board.
plan to ever use Spider-Man. But I know that they did supposedly, and I could be wrong, but I think I read that they did film a scene with Andrew Garfield, and then the studio, and then they decided, no, we want to do Tom Holland. And before they could even get Tom Holland in there, they said, you know what, just scrap the whole idea. Which was like, I don't know why you would do that, but To me, if you did a Spider-Man like this, you're making basically like an ambiguous Spider-Man. Kind of like, oh, okay, that's just a Spider-Man. I could be anybody.
Yeah. It's one of
That's
those
what I
guys
would've
from
done.
South America.
Oh God.
Those
That's
guys.
exactly what I would have done. I would have done an ambiguous Spider-Man and have a completely different fucking actor. Just have it be nameless.
Henry Cavill.
No.
Henry Cavill
According to
starring in
RJ, he
everything.
says there was also concept art for Tom Holland Spider-Man fighting Ezekiel Sims or whatever that dumb villain's name was. That's the bad guy in the movie. And that was
he was
official.
weak.
Sony sucks.
Yeah.
Dylan O'Brien as Spider-Man. I know he was considered early on before they cast Tom Holland, but I think they deemed that he was too old to play the role. I think he would have been okay. He was in the Maze Runner series.
He was
Yeah,
in
it
Teen
came
Wolf.
down to
Teen
either Asa,
Wolf.
like Charlie Plummer, Asa Butterfield, and Tom Holland. That's what it came down to.
Bam.
So, I don't know. I would have gotten over
But still,
to me though.
what do you think? If this would have been in Madam Web, would this have saved the movie?
No.
No.
Okay, I think had this been in the initial movie they intended to make, they might have had a chance. In the movie they released, fuck no,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
If
You
it
would have
was-
had more people go and see it. I still don't think it would have been successful.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I watched it and I was like, this is weird. This is not good storytelling.
It was like
at all.
4 different origin stories mashed into one. You could tell that the villain was probably messed with the most in editing because almost majority of his lines didn't add up with what he was saying and with the ADR. It was just bad. It was just really bad editing. And on top of that, what exactly is his motive for killing these 3 Spider Women? You don't really know. So that right there also gives you a bunch of head scratching thoughts of like what the fuck is going on here. I think they had something shot where Ezekiel Sims was trying to kill Mary Parker, sorry, before Peter Parker was born. That's what I think was originally intended. And then Sony went, I don't think we can do this. And then they fucked everything up by doing that.
They fucked everything up.
Because Dakota Johnson was even just like, we signed on for a movie that we didn't end up making. Like what we signed on to make did not come to fruition. And it's like, well, that kind of spells it all out right there, doesn't it?
And she definitely didn't hold back on her comments after
No.
the release either.
No,
I mean,
she didn't.
She fully blasted. I mean, I one of the comments that she made always stuck out to me was, "This is what you get when you make a movie by committee.
Yep.
This is exactly what you get." And then followed that with saying, "I'll never do another superhero movie again."
Yep.
But ultimately, as Shell said, at the end of the day, though, I got a paycheck. So whether you liked it or not, the studio still paid me.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Sydney Sweeney was like, "Oh yeah, I was just along for the ride." And it's like that's good, question answering right there. Especially when it comes to big franchises like this, she just kind of put her hands up in the air. Was like, "I was just along for the ride. I got to put on a costume. It was cool." That's all she had to say, right?
Unfortunately, this won't deter studios from
God, no.
making and doing things like this in the future. I mean, a failure like this, they're just going to chalk it up as to a failure. They're just going to keep churning along and pumping the films out, regardless of how many times they say we want quality over quantity. We'll want to focus on story and all that BS. I mean, until they actually do it, I won't believe it.
Well, here's some news right here. When we talk about Andrew Garfield, let's take a look at this. It says Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was this is from Men's Journal, whatever the fuck that means. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was nearly featured in Madam Web, according to latest rumors. The upcoming Spider-Man spinoff, which is part of Sony's Spider-Verse, rather than the Marvel's MCU, follows Dakota Johnson's Madam Web. At one point, her paths cross with Garfield's version of the iconic Marvel superhero. Sony reportedly decided against it and to go with the current Spider-Man actor, Tom Holland, or at least that's what had been alleged by the Hollywood Insider on the hot mic. Oh, that must mean Jeff Snyder.
Sorry, what the fuck?
That's exactly what that means.
So, true or not, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but going back to this, I think it's still pretty cool that, at one point there was some kind of intention to have Spider-Man in the movie, but unfortunately it never happened. But
It's
it's
a
probably
cool
for the
looking
best.
It's a
Yeah.
cool looking suit,
Kind of looks like the game, but it's a black
Yeah.
spider instead of a white one.
Right.
But
that's neat.
the whole movie itself was plagued with all kinds of fuck ups. It's just the story didn't make any sense, and the only time that the movie seemed like where I really saw it, where I was like, okay, I see where this was going, was in the diner when he was trying to kill the girls. I was like, okay, now I see what they were going for, but then they fucked it all up. And then the what is it? The Brazilian Spider-Man in the jungle. That was just all kinds of bad. That was like, what? Why is this on screen right now?
Was birthed in the water.
I know their suits look
This
ridiculous.
Is a water baby.
It was just like, I don't know what we're doing here. But anyway,
Tribe
so
of the Spider People.
the tribe of the Spider People. So that already is just like, what the fuck? I cannot believe that they went that route. So anyhow, Madam Web, check it out for yourself. I know Ryan got to see it. Was it a couple days ago? It was terrible.
It was horrible. It was a hard watch. It wasn't as bad as there was another one that was worse.
Oh sure, there are plenty that are worse than Madam Web, but Madam Web is like, if you were to tell me that you think Madam Web is one of the worst comic book films you've ever watched, I would not at all debate you on that.
Yeah, it's way
comic
up
book
there.
films or just films in general.
Comic book films.
Comic
Comic
book.
book
How
There's
is
too many bad regular films out there to compare.
So as a film, you would say average, but as comic book film, it's pretty bad.
Right.
I guess I just
Yeah, see, for me, it's bad. For
It was unwatchable.
unwatchable.
it was almost unwatchable.
Unwatchable.
There were times where I was like, man, what are we
Some
doing
people
right
call it
now?
unwatchable. So
Yeah.
Like when she fell in the water.
Yeah,
and
that
then,
was weird. I was like,
Well,
what are
yeah.
we doing here?
It was like an herbal essence sponsored.
Yeah, I was like,
scene.
is she using Suave? Is that,
I don't.
is that
You know,
Pantene?
The whole getting her eyes blinded while in water, that made absolutely, of all
Yeah,
the
at
things
the-
that didn't
at
make
the
any
end,
sense in
it's
that
like-
movie, that was the one thing where I was like, okay, this makes absolutely no fucking sense.
That and
whatsoever.
with great responsibility comes great
See,
power. It was
I
like,
I understand the
what
frustration
fuck?
there with that, but then also the other thing that I just kind of went, this doesn't make any sense, is like Ezekiel Sims telling his girl in the chair, oh yeah, they kind of look like this and that. And then the computer totally makes them look 10 years younger. I'm just like, there's no fucking way this technology.
Well, and not only
existed
that,
in
I was like, how did
2002.
they extract the image from his dream? They were like, oh, there it is. I was just like, wait, that was his fucking dream. You can extract images? Like, how did you pull that one off?
Well, imagine how many handoffs and sign offs this went through, and people said, and no one said, "Hey, are we sure this is what we want to put in this scene? Are we sure this looks good?" Nope. Yep, looks good. Looks good. It went through so
They're
many.
like, just put it out.
people,
We'll fix it. all
and
in
eventually
gravy.
got released, and all those
Actually-
hands that touched it.
No, Sean's
mean-
right. We actually have footage of that conversation at the studio. Here it is.
We
Here
do
it is right
actually.
here.
No one cares. No one cares. Do you care?
No. Do you care? You guys got any Benadryl?
See? No one cares.
They don't
You guys
care.
have
They're
any
just like,
Benadryl? Anyone have any Benadryl? I need Benadryl.
And that brings me back to the original point of just churning out content just to try to get.
but this
the
could have
butts
been a
and
really cool story if they just would have done it right.
Could it?
But
though?
it never
Yeah.
seems to happen that way these days. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't get it.
Morbius, same shit.
Yeah, Morbius was the same. thing.
Morbius, yes.
I don't know
I'm
which
sure-
one I'd watch over which. I don't know if I'd watch Morbius over Madam Web or Madam Web over Morbius.
Morbius.
I really don't know.
Probably Morbius, but like I said, I really dug the costumes, like the spider costumes. That
Oh
they
yeah,
had.
those are great.
The girls, they look great. I mean,
That's the
I
best
would
thing about
imagine the
movie.
costume designer didn't do the one in the jungle, but maybe they're having a rough
They were
day.
like,
I
just
don't
get some
know.
silly string.
Yeah, and some plastic. It was like, huh? I mean, that looked like the way that they were dressed in the beginning of the movie. It felt like I was watching a play at like a local theater. It was just like, whoa, why would this be in the final cut? It's unnecessary. It's unwatchable. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the whole background with her mom was like, you didn't even need to have that story there. It could have been told later on and in more of a flashback, but instead they gave it a whole scene that at the beginning of the movie, and it just set the tone for just a fucking shitty movie. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're going to go this route. Okay, this is the film that we're getting. Alrighty. Rough.
Yeah.
Rough all the way around. Okay, so let's go on to our next topic. We have breaking
Supergirl.
news, and this is from breaking news from an upcoming movie called The Fantastic Four. Julia Garner has been cast as a female Silver Surfer in The Fantastic Four.
Yarp.
So they have gender swapped the Silver Surfer. Now I'm not too familiar. I'm in depth with the Silver Surfer.
Actually, this isn't even a gender swap. She's
Yeah, it's
playing Bella Shalabal. Is that how you pronounce the character's name? Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not totally familiar with Silver Surfer, so I mean, maybe.
Charlemagne.
It is
Timothy Chalamet?
Shallaball.
Shallaball.
Shallaball is the
Yeah.
lover of the initial Silver Surfer, who is
Ooh. Her
Noron
and
Rhodes,
Lawrence
Noron Rand,
Fishburne.
something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
So who is she again? She's Lawrence Fishburne?
No,
They're
no.
lovers?
The character Shallaball is the lover of the Silver Surfer everyone already knows about. That one.
Okay. So maybe,
Yeah, so it's an
maybe
independent
the other Silver
character.
Surfer will show up in this. Who knows?
It's possible.
Or they're just going to roll
Or
with
they
this
bring
one.
Silver Surfer in later on as we get closer to Secret Wars.
Well, people are spinning the rumor that this may be in an alternate universe, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
And I've heard that too, that they're in an alternate universe. To me, it would make more sense if they were just in the past and that you know, they did something that shot them into the future. And then, now they're having to kind of do that, like the whole Chris Evans, Steve Rogers kind of like, hey, I get that reference, or what is this? That's kind of thing that they'll be taking on.
It'd be cool if they were from a different 1960s era, like a different
from a different 1985,
sort of like a golden age sort of universe where superheroes kind of like the Incredibles are just kind of there, that'd be cool to
so you want the Incredibles to be in Fantastic Four?
Well, that's what I just said.
The Incredicycle?
Incrediboy!
Incrediboy!
So are you talking about an alternate universe 1960?
Yes.
Got it.
And then that way it's not exactly like Steve Rogers. It's similar, but so they have to adjust to a different type of reality, different,
Well, I think that if they're from a different dimension or a different universe within the multiverse,
yes,
and then if Secret Wars brings all them together, then that can make sense. Or at the end of this film, they end up in 616, and they're like, "How did we get here?" And then they end up just staying there for the rest. As the MCU goes on, I think that that'd be fine as well. We have a comment here. Zeever already confusing the audience. Okay, but
you're not thinking fourth dimensionally.
I don't think they're going to do alternate universe with this. I think they're going to set them in the 1960s in the MCU main timeline.
Yeah, to me it's
I'll
easier.
second
You already
to do
opened it
that.
up with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. So I mean, and also the fucking Loki shit. So I mean,
Because
Well, it
what
wouldn't be
else is
It wouldn't be the first time Marvel's done a period piece. They did it with Captain America. They did it with Captain Marvel. They did it with fucking WandaVision to some weird extent. Like,
Yeah.
it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to be like, oh yeah, these people were operating in the 60s. Something happened where they wound up in the fucking negative zone, and now they're back in modern times. Oh shit, what happened? Because if they're coming out in 1963, because that's when their accident happened, and they get flung into the fucking future, maybe that's why the Silver Surfer they might have known back then is not the Silver Surfer they know now. I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck this movie's going to be, but the fact they've got Matt Shakman directing it and the fact that they have a Silver Surfer in it pretty much points to the fact that Galactus is probably going to be the big bad of this movie.
Especially now that we have a Silver Surfer, then definitely Galactus is probably going to be
Do
involved.
you think they're going to have those circular tidal wave things, or the pits all around the globe?
The fart clouds?
What?
No. Remember in Rise of the Silver Surfer, they had those little holes everywhere all over the planet.
I don't think so. I don't think they'll do that.
I've seen the movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf. It's a good movie.
Oh.
I don't know how to respond to that last one.
No.
I hope Scarlet Witch finds them and spaghetti them all.
I don't dislike the casting. I like the casting. I think a lot of people will primarily recognize her from Ozark as Ruth. I know she's done many other things, but I think more recently, I think that's what a lot of people are gonna.
It's a really red lipstick.
There we go. Fart Cloud Galactus, let's go.
Fart Cloud.
But I like that it's taking place in the 60s, but I agree with Phil. I think it's going to take place
before
in the same
Beatles
universe, and it's just going to be like with Steve Rogers. This was already happening, and somehow they'll project somehow into the future and be with
you figure
the rest of the group.
They did a 1940s, with Steve
America.
Rogers and Captain America, but then you really haven't seen anything, after that. I mean, you saw some flashbacks with Tony Stark's dad. But you haven't seen anything
a full
else.
engulfed world. We have not.
Yeah, because
Correct.
I mean, you went from the 40s, if not the early 50s, up to current day, and then you saw the 80s, but you never saw.
You saw
60s
glimpses.
and 70s.
You saw the 90s.
You a glimpse of the 70s in Endgame when they went and got the Tesseract.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And then you got the late 80s and 90s with Captain Marvel. And then I feel like only other than Captain America, they really haven't touched too much on in between any of that in terms of like from 1945, whenever Steve went to the ice, to Carol Danvers went in fucking Captain Marvel. Like there's a whole 40-50 year time span there where Marvel has an entire tapestry to build out from if they really choose to. And it feels like they're kind of leading into it. If, the rumors are true and this movie does wind up being a 1960s period piece, which I could absolutely see happening given the concept art that they showed off to announce the cast.
Yeah. But I mean, if you had the movie take place in the 60s, right? So now you're talking about, roughly about 10 years after, 10 to 15 years
The
after
1950s.
Captain America, then you can have callbacks to what happened with Captain America and Red Skull. You know what I mean? Like you can have references to it as they're moving forward, and so I think that'd be really cool. Like I said, plus it's an era which we haven't really covered that much in the MCU, so I think you can definitely get away with it. And then I think at the end something happens and they get shot into the future, and they're like, "Holy shit, where are we now?"
I think if you really want to be bold about it, you can introduce younger versions of Professor Xavier and Magneto. If you really wanted to be bold and have nods
That would
to
be really cool. But that
the X-Men. Because it would be kind of indicative of how Marvel acquired the rights to both those IPs anyway, because they acquired them from Fox. What better way of lightweight introducing your Charles and your Magneto in this universe if they don't appear in Deadpool and Wolverine? That is.
Well, here's a question right here that I think is actually a pretty good question. Do you guys think that Howard Stark will cameo in this movie? I think yes.
Which one?
That is the question, right? Like, which one? Would it be Dominic Cooper or would it be what's the actor's name?
The guy from Mad Men, the with the gray hair.
It's John Slattery, I think.
Yeah, I think it'd be him. Because I mean, they replaced the other guy because they wanted a better actor, and that's why they got him. So I think he'd be the one they go with. But maybe not. Who knows? I mean, maybe they go for a younger actor because it's set a little too far back, But I think
he wasn't exactly.
appeared.
He wasn't exactly young when Tony and Steve Rogers went back.
Yeah,
no, he wasn't. You're right.
And if we're saying that's potentially early 40s, if we're going on realistic timeframes, World War II ended in 45, so we're talking it has to at least be in the early 40s. And if this then takes place in the 60s, we're going to say this guy aged another 15 years.
Yeah,
if he has
10 to
any
15
interaction
yeah.
with the Fantastic Four, or is even cameoed as someone in this, right? So
yeah.
Also, when they went into the 70s to get the Tesseract, I think it was the year 1977.
It was almost the 80s then, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty close to the 80s. And they, Howard Stark established the fact that his wife is pregnant with Tony. Tony was born in either 1977 or 1978. So this would theoretically, if it takes place specifically in 1963, it would take place about 14, 15 years before even that little debacle happens.
Yep.
So you could get Slattery, but I think you could also get Dominic Cooper because he's aged a bit too. But
yeah, I definitely think that to me at least Howard Stark would be a welcome cameo. I think
on one.
What
if they brought in Michael Douglas as a younger Hank Pym and have him like in the Ant-Man stuff because his adventures with Ant were in the 60s.
Yes, that would be badass. Actually,
fucking dope, right?
That would be dope. That'd be dope.
You get Emilio Estevez to play his father.
No, you get Emilio Estevez to play young Hank Pym. That's
what I mean. That's what to play his father.
It's not what you said.
But not his father, Michael Douglas. That's not Michael Douglas. Yeah.
No, his dad is Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen. Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Martin Sheen.
Oh my god. You fucking completely.
Side note, Kurt.
We completely botched that. We know.
Yeah.
No.
We're trying to glaze over it, guys.
Ryan botched that.
There's no we there. That's
Phil
a
was on a
Ryan
run,
botch.
and then Ryan stepped in.
I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right.
Ryan, sometimes when you talk on this show, you sound like this.
And who was it? The Mighty Duckman, Emilio Estevez. And I was like, Emilio!
Although I don't think he's going to work with Disney after what happened with the Mighty Ducks TV show. So
no,
I don't know.
Oh, so we got Dwayne Jackson in the chat. What's up, Dwayne?
Hey,
one
Dwayne.
person on this panel could mix up the Sheen and Douglas family.
Shala Ball was Nornrad's first love. So I mean, yeah. So that would make sense that she's in this, but where is Norrin Rad, and is he even going to be a part of this universe?
So
I would imagine he
question,
has to be.
He's either there or he sacrificed himself to Galactus. It's one of the two. Honestly,
But I mean, but that's kind of tough though, because then it's like, okay, so we're just going to kill off Silver Surfer and not ever really delve into that character, because you know what I mean. So it's kind of like maybe she's in it, or maybe Silver Surfer, the Norrin Rad version, is in this movie. He just hasn't been cast yet.
You know
Maybe
what I'm
they're
not
both in
waiting
this
for?
film.
You know what I'm expecting, but I'm not waiting for. I'm expecting all the man baby crybabies to be like, oh, they're gender bending this fucking character. Wah.
Oh, I know.
You know what's going to happen. You know exactly.
It's probably
who gonna
happening
come
right
from, too.
now.
Oh, probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
But I mean, the fact that there is a female Silver Surfer character, because it's from his race, that makes it so it's like, no, we're not doing that.
Right. But I still think
if this character didn't exist and they just gender swapped, it'd be like,
It'd be a different conversation at that point.
Yeah.
But the fact that
I agree.
The fact is, like, there is a version of this character that exists. Therefore, it is all the more game and free reign to use free will in a live action setting. And if you really want to differentiate yourself from the Tim Story films, that sure, why not? I mean, I remember hearing this rumor at first, and we were all just like, I don't believe it. But the fact that this casting has come out, it's like, well, all right.
Well, because they were talking about Anya Taylor-Joy playing this
That's what it
character.
was. You're right. Yeah.
And so everyone was like, well, okay, sure. And yeah, it's going to be pre-Tony Stark, to answer Dwayne's question.
Yes.
But I mean, Jeek and Jammers, yeah, it's those guys. But this could be a case where, and like, I'd have to go back and read up on Silver Surfer. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with his character all that much, but it could be a case where she shows up to, and is basically looking for help to save, Norrin Rad, who's under control of Galactus. It could be something like that. And so they work together with her to try and stop them.
Okay, outside of the Tim Story movies, the only other familiarity I have with Silver Surfer is that very short-lived animated show that happened when I was a kid. And even then, I caught that sparingly. I only thought the Silver Surfer just looked dope. Like, as a character.
Always thought he looked dope. Yeah. He has a surfboard.
Right.
Most of my experience with Silver Surfer came in the Nintendo video game, which is hard as hell. And I fucking hate that game, but it has a good soundtrack. But we'll see what they do with Fantastic Four. I still think, I mean, it depends on the story, but I could see, like I said, I could see her showing up and trying to recruit the Fantastic Four to help her, because Galactus and Silver Surfer are on their way to Earth to consume it. You know what I mean? So they're like, oh shit, we need your help. And he's loving my life. Help me, something like that, where they have to work together. You're my only hope. My brother was binge watching that series not long ago.
Ozark, I'd imagine. So it's not half
Was it
bad.
Ozark, or is he talking about the Silver Surfer animated series?
Oh, you know what? That's a good question, Venom. Were you watching Ozark or were you watching Silver Surfer? Guess we're gonna
Alejandro writes, Silver Surfer is a they them. Could be.
I don't know. When I was looking, he didn't have any genitalia.
He was clean cut.
he was smooth,
like the baby's bottom. But no, I'm really excited for Fantastic Four. I think this is going to be one of their more major tentpole films. That's going to be coming out, because I mean they have to hit on this movie. This is another one.
Silver Surfer. Okay,
Silver Surfer. There we go.
For sure, because it's on Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, so I mean, really, it's like when you have Deadpool, Wolverine, and you have Fantastic Four. Those are the two films that like they need to hit. And yes, you have the Thunderbolts,
Captain America, Brave New World,
Captain America. But I think those two films.
Oh, hey, you
can
forgot
do
one.
Well.
You forgot one.
What?
Blade.
That's never going to happen. Dude. To be honest, it should just be a Disney Plus show at this point. Like, you might as well just make it a fucking series.
Look, I want Mahershala Ali to play Blade. I do, but I wish they would stop dicking around with this fucking movie and like actually avidly make effort to get it fucking made, and not half-ass it either. This really shouldn't. This is what they should be able to showcase when they're not working with a mega budget. Like, Blade is such a simple fucking character, and they've went through like how many different script rewrites at this point?
Oh my God,
it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I think the problem that they're having really is that, like, when you look at a character like Blade, right, and you look at the previous films that came out with Wesley Snipes, they were ultra violent, you know what I mean? And so, like, if you want to neuter this film and make it a PG-13 film, it's not going to feel the same. It's going to feel like a junior,
I think they're waiting to see how Deadpool and Wolverine performs before they give like a hard green light on Blade. That's what I think.
Because if Deadpool Wolverine, which it's not, but if it comes out to a huge negative reception and nobody likes it and it doesn't do well, then they're going to change course again. And they probably have a plan of like, okay, this film bombs, we're going to go this route. If it succeeds, we're going to go this route. And if it succeeds, then I think that paves the way for Blade to be more violent, which it should be.
Violent.
It will not, but even if it's more violent, it will not be nearly as violent as the original trilogy.
Oh, of course,
and
probably not.
And
No,
we're gonna find not we, but the fan base will find themselves in a similar situation that many DC fans find themselves in with Reeves and Cavill. Now we have to compare these two different Blades. Which one's the better? Which we're gonna just find ourselves in that comparison. But I don't think at this point the film's going to get made. If it gets made, it's going to be a watered down version. Then you have to figure out how do you fold them in. If you are going to fold them into the rest of the MCU, how are you going to introduce them to the rest of the various characters?
It should be like the werewolf show.
the only time they've done anything with Blade was in fucking Eternals, and they had Mahershala Ali deliver a single line of dialogue to Dane Whitman for the Ebony Blade, and it's like, fuck, man, this guy deserves so much better.
I mean, this film should have been out years ago.
A while ago.
Years ago, it should have been
Well, it's
done.
the same thing with.
They probably
Black
should have already
Widow.
had a
That shit should have
sequel
came out
already done.
years ago.
This shit should have kicked off Phase 5. This is
Yeah.
like real talk. It should have kicked off Phase 5. Fuck Ant-Man. You could have fucking kicked Phase 5 off with Blade and probably been swimming with where you needed to go.
With Ant-Man was that like you were going to introduce your big bad in Kang
In an Ant-Man movie.
in an Ant-Man movie. It was like, dude, no, don't do that, please. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm fine. I like Ant-Man. I like Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. That's fine.
Yeah, the story sucked.
But that was just a shitty way to go. It was just like, oh, you're going to introduce Kang through the weakest Avenger on your team, which is Ant-Man. And so it just, to me, it was just a bad idea altogether.
Well, that movie also just suffered from just really poor usage of the volume tech too. Like, I don't think Peyton Reed had quite a handle on how to utilize that for a full-fledged movie. Using it for The Mandalorian is one thing, right? But using it for an entire movie, that's a completely different ball game you're fucking with right there. So
yeah, it was just overkill on the special effects. And again, when you talk about all these VFX houses that were like overworked, had all these projects ahead of them, that I'm sure that project didn't help because almost the entire fucking movie had special effects wrapped around every single character. So it was just, last time I watched it.
Me too, Venom. Me too. I'm watching Thunderbolts for Florence Pugh.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Right. Fuck yeah. Big fuck yeah.
I also heard that Bucky Barnes is like not really going to be that big of a character in that movie. That he's
I don't
only going to have a
buy
very
that.
small role.
I don't
see
buy
how
that
we
at
can,
all.
But like I don't see how you can make him a small role. I mean, he's one of the more major characters of that team that you made up.
Now,
if that turns out to be the case, at some point, people are start asking the question, okay, not in Captain America 4, playing a smaller, minute role in Thunderbolts, what's going on with the character?
He's just trying to segue to Luke Skywalker.
Dude, if they fucking kill him in Thunderbolts, I will be so mad.
Gets killed off in the first 15 minutes.
I will be so disappointed.
And
I would be just so disappointed.
That's like what's that movie with Steven Seagal?
Air Force One.
No. What the hell's that name? Where
Under
he's like
Siege.
No, he's like, you're not gonna make it. You will. He gets sucked out. I was like,
It's
oh,
with
he's dead.
Kurt Russell. It's with Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Oh, executive decision.
Yes. Executive decision.
Yeah.
However, Kurt Russell at that time was still a badass. So I was like, cool, we still have Kurt Russell. That's good. But in the movie, he wasn't anything
really
but like an analyst.
Seagal like fucking ate it. I was like, oh wow, because they really like promoted him in the fucking,
that took some balls.
It did. It took some balls.
Steven
Like,
Seagal balls.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get off topic.
Steven Seagal.
Everything after 1992 with Seagal just wasn't good.
Well, Seagal had his run, and then it just kept on going.
He's over. He's done. He's
above the law, out for justice, under siege. That's it. That's all you need to know about Steven Seagal's
Under Siege was.
But now you gotta watch. You gotta watch him like throwing people around and shit these days with his big ass guts. Oh my god,
man, that's brutal.
It's so funny.
Well, and the rumor has always been the only reason he's done almost 100 some odd movies is because he owes money to the mob.
Okay, now we're going down.
No, that's it. We're going down.
Conspiracy
path
theory
here.
row.
But-
No,
that's not
no,
conspiracy
boys.
theory.
Here we
That-
go.
Oh, there we go. Don't forget about Mark for Death. That was a good
Mark
fucking
for
movie.
Death.
That was in the same
It-
time as Above the
It
Law,
was it
Out
was
for Justice.
It came, yeah, it was. So yeah, it came after Hard. It came after Hard to Kill, and it was before Out for Justice. It came out in 1990. Yeah. And
Okay,
I think his
so
earlier films were good. But anyways, we digress.
Here's something I want to talk about that we did not bring up in as our topics for the show, but I really, really wanted to touch on this topic. Is
What's
the
that?
movie Roadhouse? I thought
God.
this movie
Oh,
was such a
God.
stupid fucking movie.
Oh my god!
But I mean, you know,
We're talking about the
we're talking about the
The
Jake
Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal
Okay, just making sure
Yeah.
we're on the same page.
I thought it was
watched it.
really dumb.
It was horrid. It was
So everyone has
bad.
seen it on the panel.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know,
have, yeah.
Phil.
Okay, just
Oh,
wanna make
you've
sure.
seen it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
it.
so we can tear into this shit because it's the worst.
I watched it day one. I think Andre and I were chatting about X-Men 72 as X-Men 72 was getting ready to kick off. I was watching it. I while I had some tiebacks, I was trying to call back to the original, like when he got cut on his side, went to the hospital. Patrick Swayze had a kind of similar situation, got the staples in his side. I mean, they did those minor callbacks, but overall, this movie, they did such a great service setting it right to streaming. Had this have gone to theater, it would have been torn apart. I put out there, hey, I watched it, wasn't for me. I don't think it was that great, and I got like torn apart. So many people were like, this was such an epic action film.
Really?
It really shows what Jake can do. This really
The only
leads
good
for
thing about
Connor
this
to have
film.
such a great film career.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking,
They asked Conor McGregor.
I thought,
Conor
what
McGregor
movie-
just was himself.
like, what movie did everyone watch? Maybe did I click on the
Yeah.
wrong Roadhouse? Do I need to go back and watch this again? Because it was. I mean, it was. I mean,
You
what-
watched.
for what it-
You didn't watch Roadhouse. You watched Roadkill.
I mean, otherwise, it was just using the name of the movie, the name of the main character, but really had nothing to do with what the original one was about. I'll never revisit it. I watched it just to see what it was about, but I'll never revisit it. Crazy enough, it's been viewed like almost 55 million times.
Well, yeah,
already.
I mean, it's
There's not
free.
a
It's on
lot
Amazon.
out
I was like,
there.
I'll
On
check it
Amazon.
out.
I know there's not a
Yeah.
lot out there, but I'm just saying that's still a lot of views.
I like
a lot
Doug
of-
Liman as a director, and so that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to watch it, because he's done so many good movies that I like. So I was like, yeah, well, I mean, what could go wrong?
Slam dunk.
So which
Yeah, it went wrong real bad. It went wrong.
The best thing about the film, I have to say, is the way they shot the action. When they had fights, that's it. Other than that, because that was interesting. It was cool. It was, and I would assume that's the reason why a lot of people maybe like this film is because it was just a shiny nickel, and they're like, ooh, shiny.
Ratcatcher was great.
Ratcatcher.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Not a Buffalo nickel. It was a 2024 nickel.
but that was the only redeeming factor. That and Jake Gyllenhaal was the only one that actually was an actor in the film.
Yeah.
Everybody else was just kind of there.
Well, real quick, and they also are trying to use this as proof that Jake should be the next Batman. I mean, look how great
he
I'm just saying
lost the
that-
role to Christian Bale a long time ago.
I know.
No,
but
I'm
still,
talking about for
even
James
in this
Gunn.
film.
For James
I-
Gunn, they're
I-
saying
oh,
this
no.
is proof. For
I
him
don't
to be
think he'd
Batman.
be Batman.
I don't think so
don't,
either.
but
I'm just
you never
saying
know.
that's
He tried it
that's
before, it
the
didn't work out.
push. That's the push.
Here's the thing: when it comes to Roadhouse, it's like, yeah, I didn't like it, but at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? This was not made to win an Academy Award. It's meant to just be like a movie, just a fucking movie. So I was like, okay, if you look at it from that standpoint, yeah, I guess it was all right, whatever. But overall, though, I thought the story was really bad. I mean, the guy basically commits homicide and attempts to frame a cop, fails at that, and then the chief of police is like, hey, it's okay. I exonerate you for all your charges because you saved my daughter. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I was like,
Using
whatever,
that
dude.
logic, Madam Web's not going to win any awards. And if it's a movie just to make a movie,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think it
Well,
actually
it's the
took
same thing with
place.
the fucking chief of police on the boat. He was like, I thought I told you my daughter's life was at stake. Like, what the fuck? Like, shut up, idiot. And then the son of the big bad or whatever that's in prison, he was a fucking he was a clown. Conor McGregor was just like a goofball throughout the whole thing, and it was just sort of like I don't know. His charisma is what carried the rest of the fucking film.
Like Conor McGregor, it just felt like Conor McGregor was filming his own movie during Roadhouse. You know what I mean? It was like, we're catching up with this guy's movie. Cool, you know? And then to me, what it felt like was that it felt like everyone on the set was there on vacation, and that in between their excursions and their parties, they would film scenes of this movie, and then they kind of went from there. But the fighting scenes were cool.
Yeah,
all the hand-to-hand fighting scenes, he did that really, really well. The UFC scenes obviously were really cool. They actually filmed that at a pay-per-view event. So the crowd and everything that was there, that was all real. So
it was cheaper. I
forgot what UFC event it was, but I remember pictures were being posted of Jake Gyllenhaal like, coming out and being in the octagon before like the main event fight. They filmed that whole scene, so that was pretty cool. Phil, what did you think of Roadhouse?
He loved it.
I liked it more than Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
What?
Whoa!
I didn't fucking stutter. I did not stutter.
Man.
I like this movie a lot more than Godzilla X Kong. Does that mean the bar is high? No, not necessarily. And also, let me tell you something about Roadhouse, okay? I didn't go into it going, oh, how is this going to live up to the original? Because that's not the fucking mindset you should have going into this movie.
No, absolutely
not at all.
I
here's
knew
the
it wasn't
thing.
going to be.
This is not about James Dalton. This is about Elwood Dalton. You could make the debate, like, are they related? Maybe. I don't fucking know. I don't really care. But the thing is like, you took a couple cues from the original movie. Like, it's about a roadhouse. It's about a bouncer. It's dealing with some, little city that's being overrun by some jackass and his kid. My daughter is safe. He wouldn't kidnap my daughter. But by the way, I kidnap your... Look, I'm not going to lie.
That was a part of it.
Some of the plot doesn't really all add up all that well. Sure.
they were
BFD. That's not the fucking point. The point is like this movie was meant to like be action filled, and it was.
That's it.
It was.
Conor McGregor was so coked out of his mind. He puts Jean-Claude Van Damme in Street Fighter. Fucking, it's neck and neck of which one was more coked out during which movie. No joke, no fucking joke. But the thing is like when I saw Conor McGregor in this movie for the first time, I had the eyebrows raised. I was like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here? And then they show what he's doing, and he's literally just out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, he's out
the
of his
whole
mind.
movie, and that's totally fine. That's because this is 24 dumb and goofy, whereas Roadhouse 1989 was 1980s dumb and goofy. But James Dalton was a bad motherfucker, and fucking Elwood Dalton in this movie was a bad motherfucker. Like Jake Gyllenhaal was a bad motherfucker in this movie, and I actually kind of like that. I don't think he has the chops to be Batman, but I think he fucking nailed it in this movie. I think he was he did
was the
bad
best
motherfucker.
one, yes.
He was the 100% the best part of this movie.
Sure.
Danielle
Absolutely.
Melchior as like the love interest. I was like, okay, that's fine. The whole thing with the fucking dickhead sheriff, I was like, all right. This isn't the first time we've had a corrupt cop try and run shit, and then he gets double crossed by the guy he's fucking working with. We've seen this how many
He's
fucking
in the front
times
of the
before?
car, and he goes and he walks to the back of the cop car. I'm like, what's the point of that?
I'm not saying
What
it's
was
a perfect movie. Audrey and I we're talking about this in the group chat. It's not meant to be a fucking perfect movie. The first movie isn't even a fucking perfect movie, right? But the thing is like I look at Roadhouse, the 1989 original, and then I look at this one, and I'm just like, these are just big, dumb, goofy action movies. And I think if you just look at it that way, they achieve what they meant to set out. And I agree with Sean. Had this movie gone to theaters, it would not have gotten the same reception it got on streaming. There's no fucking way. I'm sorry, Doug Lyman. I know you fought really hard to get it put in theaters, even though after you signed on for it to be a streaming movie.
Yeah.
You get what you sow, dude. And on top of that, you got a bigger budget to work with. What the fuck are you complaining about? And
What do you do with the money?
50 million something people have watched the fucking movie now. That's great for Amazon. Amazon can do whatever the fuck they want with that money. Good for them. We got a super chat from Dane.
We have a super chat, and holy
Oh, buddy.
Oh,
Thank you for that super chat. Thank you very much.
$100
Dwayne,
super
man.
chat
Thank you.
from Dwayne Jackson. Holy shit. Thank you, Dwayne Jackson, for the $100 super chat. Dwayne writes, Disney Plus needs to do the Midnight Suns for Disney Plus. To me, for Blade to have a chance to get made, I think Midnight Suns would benefit the character Blade a lot more if the series does well, which I think it would. It increases the movie of getting made. I partially agree with that, but I also think that, I mean, right now, anything you say, I'm going to agree with.
I think you're making some solid.
I think. And by the way, your profile picture is fucking beautiful. By the way, but no, I think that Blade should stand on his own and have his own movie, and I think that it should lead into a Midnight Suns movie. I mean that team also had what, Doctor Strange. It had Wolverine. It had a lot of different characters.
Yeah, it's
so
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider
was in it too. Yeah.
So I mean, you could have that develop later on, but I don't think that becomes a thing until if a soft reboot does happen after Secret Wars.
I think it's a good idea if okay. It's a great idea in that since we've already had a Blade trilogy, and if you really wanted to reintroduce Blade without like showing him first in a movie or whatever, or giving him his movie. The problem is they've already promised us a Blade movie, right? And that's just the kicker. But I do agree that if you were to introduce him prior to having his own movie, then yeah, I think Midnight Suns would be a route they could go down, considering you already have Doctor Strange, you have the Werewolf by Night stuff established. I mean, for fuck's sake, just get Michael Giacchino to come in and do it. Like he had absolutely zero issue doing Midnight or the Werewolf by Night. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it's untapped. Excuse me, I'm just losing my voice today.
I felt it going away.
And it might be a good opportunity to introduce Ghost Rider.
Yes, I agree with Sean. It would be a great opportunity to introduce this version of Ghost Rider, be it Ketch, David Ketch, is it Danny Ketch? Danny Ketch, yeah, Danny Ketch, or even Johnny Blaze, whichever one, or even the new one they had in fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like any one of those.
Sam Elliott.
No.
No.
And Keanu Reeves won't be playing Ghost Rider.
No. Neither will Norman Reedus, even though that'd be a pretty bad.
Yeah.
I would actually prefer to see Norman Reedus be Johnny Blaze in the MCU. I think that fag cast is actually one of the better ones that's gone around over the last decade or so.
He's still working that Walking Dead.
Yep.
Contract TV show. So
yeah,
it'd be a while before he does anything different until he ends with that.
I agree.
Still money for him.
You know what? Real quick, this is for Dwayne. First of all, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for the super chat. We really appreciate all your support, and because of this is going to be your clip now.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
You're in control of the show now.
Of the show, yeah. We'll talk about Midnight Sun for the rest of the show.
Honestly, there's already another character that they've established for Midnight Suns too, Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And they've dropped that, and they've dropped the ball on that character.
Of course they did. What happened? He's gone.
I mean, we've seen one season TV series, and we've never seen another mention of him again.
Never
and they
again?
casted the role with such a great actor. I mean,
Dameron? Yeah, he was great.
Okay, if there's any big problem with Phase 4 and 5, it's the fact that they keep introducing these characters and then not showing them ever again. Whereas you got a lot of that in Phase 1, 2, and 3 leading into Infinity War. Whereas we're just getting a lot of here's this character, here's that character. Oh, here's this series, here's that series. And
it seems like they're scrambling now instead of really building towards something. They're just like, I don't know what to, and it's sort of like it's kind of like, you know.
Well, here's the thing. Any diehard Marvel fan will be like, oh, but they're building towards Secret Wars. And it's like, we get that, but we're not seeing that. That's the fucking problem.
Exactly. And that's the point, is that, like, you know, as an audience, you should be able to kind of follow along with, like, okay, I kind of understand, like Andre said a long time ago, I can see where this is or what's going on. I can see the, you know, the foundation being laid, and all they're doing is it's like throwing things here and there, and Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight and fucking you know,
and I think that's why
Scarlet
Deadpool
Witch
and Wolverine is like going to be a smash for them, because it's, in a way, it's building off of stuff we've seen from Loki, and it's also building off of shit we've seen from Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. It is literally another stepping stone towards what we've been promised in Secret Wars.
I think it's more along the lines of, like, you know, the original Guardians of the Galaxy, in that, like, it's something that's like, sort of like a Hail Mary or a life raft, you know, and such. Is that because,
I mean, if you want to spin it that way, that's your business.
No, I definitely am, because it seems like, you know, that's what's going to get people out to the fucking theater to watch this shit, is because you already have, you know, Ryan Reynolds and fucking Hugh Jackman. So they're just like, okay, well, how do we we know we're going to get people to the damn movie. How do we make this shit make sense with the shit that we've already created?
I think that when it comes to Midnight Suns, I think that you could have, especially after Multiverse of Madness, you could have gone with Moon Knight and then Blade right after that, and sort of established that group or that niche in the MCU. But instead, what did they do? They after Moon Knight, we got what Miss Marvel, because then they started gearing towards the Marvel
And She-Hulk. Miss
and
Marvel
She-Hulk, which She-Hulk served no purpose other than showing Charlie Cox as Daredevil, which was like, okay, that's awesome, but then now he's kind of a goofier version.
It also
whatever.
establishes that Bruce Banner's still alive and around, and like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but still, I mean, honestly, if we never got She-Hulk, it would have no effect on what we're getting right now. Even Daredevil Born Again, it would probably be even more hype for that if we hadn't seen him in She-Hulk.
Thing with WandaVision.
Okay.
Well, you've really had three stages.
WandaVision, that's a whole different story.
You've really had 3 stages here. First stage was they used up all their top tier, well-known, established characters. Captain America. I mean, everyone knew these characters. Iron Man.
And here's the funny part. Here's the funny part about that. Not to cut you off,
No,
but they became top tier characters because of the MCU. Because back then, way back when in 2008, nobody knew who the fuck Iron Man was. Nobody knew who Captain America was. Nobody even gave a fuck about Thor. The MCU made those characters as top tier as they are, and now that they're gone, well, 2 of them are gone. One is turned into a fucking clown show. Like, what else are we doing here?
That's my point. So
the
you
same
had
thing
that,
with Loki. They
had
went
that
to
as your first stage that everyone flocked to. Now we're in this stage, as Ryan was describing, where now we're just throwing things at the wall. We're going to throw this character, and we're going to see how the audience reacts. And if they react great, we're going to potentially keep that for Secret Wars. But the people that keep saying, yeah, we're saying for Secret Wars, it's 2024. We're at least 3 years out from Secret Wars. At least 3 years out.
Well, that's why Loki.
So what
got
are you going to
season
do
2?
for the next 3
Because
years?
they knew that
you can't put all your eggs in the Logan Deadpool basket for the next 3 years, hoping they do buddy cameos in every little MCU project, keeping the audience dragging along until we get to Secret Wars and a soft reboot. That's just not going to work.
Yeah,
well, but the thing too is that, like, you know, if you bring Hugh Jackman and you keep him around through Secret Wars, and then what's going to happen? You're going to they've already said that they're planning on doing a soft reboot, and you're going to get probably a new Wolverine. And it's kind of like, okay, so this is going to go good until you get to your reboot, and then you have to start all over again. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of handle that. And I think that's one of the hard things about bringing Hugh Jackman back is that eventually you have to say goodbye to him again. You know, if you do, like,
I was okay saying goodbye to him.
I was already fine with him.
Yeah, I was okay after Logan. I was,
but now it's like whoever they cast as the next Wolverine, now you have to take over. You know, you have to step into his shoes and take over immediately after Hugh Jackman made his last film.
Well, and that's something the MCU hasn't dealt with yet, and then they're going to have to come to some realization that
here's the thing, though. I think that Spider-Man: No Way Home gave them more license to experiment with that idea in this movie, because there are rumors that there are going to be variants of Wolverine played by different actors. Therefore, when they get ready to officially reboot X-Men and you know, softly reintroduce these characters, and you don't need Hugh Jackman in a sense, you can introduce someone younger or even go the X-23 route, whatever. Yeah. I think this movie is going to like lay the foundation for that idea to permeate even more, because Spider-Man: No Way Home had 3 different versions of Spider-Man across, you know, 3 eras of Spider-Man filmmaking in the movie. Whereas with this film, you can show maybe like a Daniel Radcliffe shorter version of Wolverine, or, you know, whoever else has been rumored to play Wolverine. No, not Henry Cavill, because that's not fucking happening.
But I mean,
and to answer your question, Dwayne, Marvel has the rights to Ghost Rider, but he hasn't appeared in anything since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they cut that loose because he became too much of a budgetary concern for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before they canned the show in like season 6 or 7. But yeah, they're just kind of sitting on him for the moment.
But at some point, they're going to have to play that card to keep the audience.
They're going to, but similar to what he's saying,
eventually eat that cost.
Similar to what he's saying, though, I think the same thing applies to like X-Men 97. I think that, again, you're reintroducing the characters through X-Men 97, and a lot of the hardcore fans who are watching it, like we are, you know, it's a way of giving you the you know, more of those characters before they actually eventually get to rebooting all that. So it kind of puts them back into the forefront, and, you know, it makes them more relevant again. We got one more super chat from Mr. Dwayne Jackson, and this is of the $5 value.
Pizza time.
Marvel acts like a wrestling promotion. Don't know how to build the stars from their own comic book talent. Exactly.
They inherited what they did. What Marvel Studios did before Disney bought them over was they inherited this success. They inherited this engine that was already going. So you already had Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and well, they had an Incredible Hulk, but they didn't go further with Norton. But I mean, you already had this sort of these movies
train was
tethered
moving
together, right? It was already in motion, and so they've never had to kind of build from the ground up. And so now with this, with WandaVision kicking that shit off, it's not the same. They're trying to get out of that formula, and they were like, well, how do we get back into that formula? Well, but how do we also do these other things? COVID happened. Let's throw everything on Disney Plus. Okay, let's not throw everything on Disney Plus. Iger's out. Iger's back. What the fuck are we doing? There's just too many hands in the cookie jar, and there's no fucking baker to fucking tell them, hey, do you know how to fucking make cookies? Like, let's get some flour. Let's get some fucking, let's get some ingredients and shit and start building this stuff or making it. And nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. It's crazy. It's the same shit with Star Wars.
Well, linking it back to the comment Dwayne made, it just feels like they keep falling back on those established characters. Like we keep hearing about Chris Evans coming back as Steve Rogers, whether it's a small bit, a big bit, whatever. At some point, you guys not you guys,
because they're going to lean on nostalgia.
Exactly. You guys, at some point, you guys as an MCU Disney, you're going to need to move on from Chris Evans as Captain America.
Right. They should have had a period where they took the training wheels off.
Correct.
But they keep trying to put the training wheels back on.
And I think, and then the time they took the wheels off, that's where we get into this. We're going to throw out all these different Moon Knight, all these different TV shows.
Right. And then when it didn't work out, or it didn't like that's what I was saying earlier, making the point of like, that's why they went back to the well and did Loki season 2, because they were like, okay, this is a winner. And he's from, the MCU proper. So we've got this built-in audience that already likes, him as Loki. So
and that's when they put the training wheels back on.
Yes.
And now the train is slowing down again. The audience is losing interest again because
they're like, oh, we got Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
And that's my problem with bringing, while I'm excited to see Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds team up as their characters in a film, finally, especially the appropriate version, I think we would agree, as Deadpool, not the one we saw in Wolverine's Origins. How long are they gonna, as I mentioned, how long are they gonna try to milk this duo until they can get to the soft reboot? Are we going to see again this duo of like a buddy comedy showing up in future shows or movies to try and keep the audience strung along long enough to get them to the soft reboot where you get the new Wolverine, you get the new X-Men, whoever, because I don't think the audience is going to go for that. There's only so much you can go to the well on this, and there's only so many times Hugh Jackman's gonna say, I'm tapped out, I can't do this anymore.
You're talking to Disney. Disney did that one animation of Mickey Mouse going back to the well and just using the water. They just keep doing that, like
they do. And at some point, I was happy again. I was happy when we got Logan. We got what I felt was a true interpretation of the Wolverine character in all of his vengeance and violent form, and finally an R-rated version. I was happy when they closed the door and Hugh walked away from the character. And okay, who are you gonna bring in now to play Wolverine if you ever bring the character back?
Sure.
Not that we were now going to see him come back again and try to carry the MCU, so to speak, to their next phase. It's not because they don't know how to get
Carrie.
there.
I would just say try to reinvigorate.
No, Carrie's not. I'm just saying. I'm just using Carrie as a general term. He's not putting all the weight of the MCU on his shoulders. I'm just saying he's a major factor of trying to get them to their next phase with these projects that aren't working out and the audience isn't responding to. I think one of them having to be Blade, one of them which we've all been waiting for. They've been hyping up for how many years, and they keep, for whatever reason, they can't get it.
Keep kicking the can down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look at this cast right here.
Blood.
Probably.
I think there's a lot of things that are in the way of that, and like Phil was saying, I think that Wolverine and Deadpool will pave the way for Blade to be more violent. I mean, here's a fan.
We're going under,
image.
but we're quick. We're going under the assumption though that Deadpool 3 will be as in your face violent as Deadpool 1, not Deadpool 2.
I mean, when Ryan Reynolds is a producer on the project, I'd have to imagine that would be the case.
I would hope so, but you never know.
You never know, but I think they can definitely do it and make it really cool. But it's just a matter of how it's kind of executed. But what it looks like now is that really, after what I think it's next year, Daredevil Born Again is supposed to come out, and that's supposed to lead. That's supposed to lead directly into Spider-Man 4, which I still believe is going to come out before. I still think it's going to come out before Avengers 5, because I think you have to reestablish Tom Holland, his Spider-Man, before you go into Avengers 5. Because you can't have Avengers 5 without Spider-Man. You can't.
It would be in their best interest to do a Spider-Man movie before an Avengers movie. Because you just, at this point, with the amount of characters that they have, the established characters that they have, that general audience members will actually go and pay the fuck attention to, Spider-Man is one of them, and Spider-Man has already been seen with other Avengers. So if you do an Avengers movie without him, you're kind of writing yourself into a box there, and not a fun one, I don't think.
No, exactly. And it's like the idea, the rumors out there that Daredevil will partner with Spider-Man to take on the Kingpin. To me, that's what we need to see from Spider-Man. We need to see him take on a street level, be just the neighborhood friendly Spider-Man that's helping to stop crime and stopping a corrupt Kingpin. I think that's really cool, and I dig that concept. And then that can easily end with a lead into Avengers 5 and, and all that. But I mean, if this leads into Spider-Man 4, then to me it would make more sense if Tom Holland Spider-Man makes an appearance at the end of Daredevil Born Again. That would be fucking epic. But again, it's like, what I don't want is sort of what Disney Star Wars did, where you had the Ahsoka series, which I thought was so badass. I loved it, right? And then as soon as that was over, it was like, okay, what's next? We have the Bad Batch season 3, and then we have Skeleton Crew coming in. It was just kind of like, wait a minute, you just made this badass series, this badass Ahsoka series, but yet there's nothing set up to follow that. Like, hey, get ready, because next year or in 2 years you're gonna have this movie or this series that's gonna directly follow Ahsoka. And I think that's what the MCU is trying to do. They're trying to line everything up so that there's a payoff for everything that they're putting out. Like, you have Daredevil that leads to Spider-Man 4. You have Spider-Man 4 that's going to lead to Avengers 5. You know what I mean? So I think there has to be payoffs for all these, big tentpole projects. So, and that's just my opinion, at least.
Well, it's also harder with Spider-Man because they have to share that with Sony, and they have to time everything when they both want to announce information or whatever. Because Spider-Man 4 has been in the development since No Way Home, and that was 3 years ago this December. And they still, for whatever reason, they don't have a script locked down. Again, we had strikes to deal with last year too, so there's that. And Tom Holland made it abundantly clear that he wanted to take a break from acting as well, even though he's been like a project or here and there. So it's really tough to be like, yeah, we should get a Spider-Man movie before Avengers 5, but then you have all these other outside factors that are like making it a little bit more difficult to get a Spider-Man movie made. But I agree with you. I think having a Spider-Man movie before Avengers 5 and leading kind of into Avengers 5 would help. But also at the same time, it's like the real world logistics of it kind of make that a little more murky. You know what I mean? But like, as far as Daredevil's concerned, like to Sean's point, if you have Deadpool Wolverine kind of at this point kind of carrying the MCU, at least theatrically, on their backs, on the television side, Daredevil is kind of doing that the same way, because look at like Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're getting a movie sequel out of that, right? But then we're not, and we're also getting like Agatha. But who the fuck is really asking for who's really asking for the Agatha show? It could be awesome, right? We don't know.
It could be, but that should have came out years ago.
That should have come out WandaVision came, or the next year, following year.
Should have been, right?
And one thing we saw recently, I don't know if you guys saw the image of John Bernthal, his first look on set of Daredevil. So he's looking very much like what we saw from him in the Netflix show, which is great. It looks like he still has the same look. I mean, in the image, he's got blood on his hands, he's on his face, his neck. So it looks like he's gonna potentially play that same type of ruthless version of Punisher. Which, who knows where that could lead us into the MCU bringing a solo
they're going to trade him out for like.
It also looks like It also looks like they're playing. I don't remember what storyline in the comics, but essentially, like Frank Castle's going after cops who are using his image. That's what this season might be taking inspiration from, because I've seen a couple cops in like his Punisher garb, like wearing his skull, and I'm like, oh, they're going that route. That makes a lot of sense.
That's both of them right there.
That's
and then Jack
beautiful,
Pierre
what
has a
that
good
is.
point. Falcon Winter Soldier spawned 2 movies, Cap 4 and the Thunderbolts.
Okay, yes,
Andre,
but also
I just sent you an image of a different one. But
you
the
can
one I
make the
was referring
debate
to.
that Hawkeye also kind of set up Thunderbolts too,
That's a
because
bad
of Florence Pugh's character.
Yeah.
He looks less intimidating with the jacket on. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
No shit,
He's like,
Sherlock.
oh, I'd only wear this when it gets really cold.
Yeah. I can't see the cold.
But depending upon how Born Again plays out, especially and how big of a role Punisher plays in this, I think it might be a great opportunity to bring this character back and start. And especially if you want to go down that more violent, where you want to try and make a case for Blade, and not say, "Oh, well, Blade's too violent." I mean, here's a character that is just as, if not more, violent than Blade, Punisher. I mean, this is the image I was talking about.
Yeah.
I mean. They did a comparison of this picture to one from 2016 from Netflix. It was almost like a mirrored image. I mean, this, as far as his suit and everything, was almost exactly the same.
I dig it.
I would love to see this. I would love to see him play this character more and us get more from this.
Well,
also, it's important to note that Variety may have broken the story like today, but I've known for a few weeks now that he was coming back, because this story is old news. Like a friend of mine went to a con a couple weeks ago. John Bernthal was there, and he kind of like went, "Hey, it'd be really cool to see you come back in Daredevil Born Again." And Bernthal outright told him, "Well, I can confirm that for you right now. I am in Daredevil Born Again." So this is old news, but it's still cool to get to see like set pictures of him in the Punisher.
That's the point I'm making. Because it feels like, again, it almost feels like we're getting that same version from the Netflix show here. We're not going to get a watered down. Well, we don't know yet, but based on what we're seeing from images, we're not getting a watered down version of the character.
Right. Yeah,
and we have a $10 super chat again from Dwayne Johnson. Thank you so much.
Dwayne,
this is
Let's go.
Dwayne Jackson. I'm sorry, Dwayne Johnson's
Thank you
the
so
Rock.
much tonight, and every night, every week.
Good job,
every
Andre.
week. Marvel and DC had this in common. They are both afraid of moving from legacy characters and trying to introduce new characters or new blood. Example, Miles Morales, live-action Spider-Man, or Hyperion. Yeah, no, they definitely do have that problem. The one thing I worry about when it comes to Daredevil Born Again is that, like, they're putting a lot of characters in this. I mean, it looks like the Punisher is not going to have just a small cameo. He's going to have a somewhat of a...
He's got a role. He's got a role in this.
He's got a role. Muse is going to be in this. It's going to have a lot of characters. White Tiger. It's like...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's a lot going on in this series, so I hope it's not overstuffed. I remember originally they were like, oh, yeah, this is going to be like a 19-episode season. I was like, what? Like as if it was like a like a traditional TV series, on network TV. I was like, why would you do that? That's like way too much filler.
It's going to appear on ABC.
It's going to be on the CW.
Says they're doing 18 episodes.
That's what they said, but I don't think they're still going to do 18.
I
episodes.
think the 18 episode thing is being split into 2 seasons, and that's why they're calling it a 2-season event.
Yeah,
probably,
that's what I think.
9 and 9, probably.
9 and 9, exactly.
Dwayne Jackson also writes, how come we have not had a Punisher movie in nearly 20 years?
I mean, the last one was what? Punisher Warzone? When was that? That was like 2008, I think. Yeah, Punisher Warzone.
What's up, Daniel?
2008.
What about that
Daniel
Dolph Lundgren
tonight?
Yeah, 2008.
You'll see Daniel tonight with myself over on the Dre Area Sports Show. Definitely check that out tonight at 10 o'clock p.m. Pacific time.
Are you guys going over baseball?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's baseball season, right?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about football and baseball and probably some basketball as well.
Oh yeah, I did see some something pertaining to football on my timeline. I don't remember what it was though. Like the Texans got someone from the Bills or some shit like that.
Yeah, they got Stephon Diggs.
That's what it was. Yeah,
from the Bills. He's like their star receiver, and now he's on the Texans. So that's gonna be fun to talk about tonight. But
interesting.
Going back to John Bernthal, he looks amazing as a Punisher, and really, it's like. For me, like I've been saying, it's Deadpool, Wolverine, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Born Again. Those are the 3 main projects that I'm the most interested in. I think Brave New World can be good but Brave New World is taking on massive reshoots along with the Thunderbolts. So it's kind of like, oh my God, let's hope those go well. and that the movie flows good and it doesn't feel like a chopped up mess. But they're reshooting a lot of scenes for both those movies, and not to mention they're doing a ton of reshoots for Ironheart, which you're still going to release as a Disney Plus.
Well, I know
series.
you're looking forward to that one.
No, yes, big time. I hope we get an IMAX.
IMAX.
3D.
3D. Remember that?
Oh man, I remember when 3D was the craze.
Same.
So, with that being said, let's move on to our. Oh wait, hold on. He's got something here. What is this?
This image was shared on John Bernthal's Instagram page.
Is that Phil?
No, dickhead, that's Charlie Cox.
He was there.
He was there. Look at him.
That's Charlie Cox. It's Deborah Ann Wool, and that's John
Mhm.
Bernthal. So
It's badass. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what they should have done to begin with. It's crazy.
looks good.
I want it fire.
That's what that gets.
Oh,
Fire.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's move on to our next topic, which is Godzilla versus Kong. Now, I haven't seen this film. Ryan, have you seen it?
I have not seen it yet.
Sean, have you seen it?
Nope. I have not.
But Phil, you've seen it, right?
I have.
Okay, so let's cut to
And
our
I'm
next
okay
segment.
with spoilers if
Yeah.
it wants to be talked about. It won't bother
Yeah,
me.
Okay.
If y'all want me to spoil Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, I will happily
Well, I'll
spoil
tell
it.
you what. I'll tell you what. Since you're the only one who has seen it, because you're free to go to the movies, let's go to our next segment, which is all about Phil and the movies.
Number one, who the fuck made that? Because that's brilliant. Number two, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was fine. Okay. If you liked Godzilla versus Kong, you're gonna get exactly what you want out of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. I didn't really walk into this movie expecting much. I thought the trailer looked great, but then I sit down with the movie and I'm sitting with my friend Terrence, and the movie progresses, and it's just a lot of just flat dialogue. The character Dan Stevens is trying really hard to be like Tom Hiddleston was in Kong Skull Island, and it didn't land that well. No, matter of fact, it didn't fucking land at all. He was terrible. It just wasn't that great at all. Thank you. I know, Phil, at the movies. I like that. But I will say, and I'm probably going to like parrot a little bit of what Dave the Film Junkie said. If not for the third act of this movie, this would have easily been, in my opinion, like probably one of the lesser, if not worst, films in the MonsterVerse, because hot fuck, this movie almost bored me to death. There are like very few scenes in which I was genuinely enthralled. A lot of the monster action was fantastic. There's actually one point where Kong knocks out another gorilla, and it's fucking hilarious. Okay, but the evil gorilla, the evil monkey, Scar King, dumber than shit. It was dumb as fuck. The way he controls Shimu makes absolutely zero fucking sense. And Shimu was an even more interesting kaiju than fucking Scar King. Oh my god, Scar King was just a stupid villain. I did not like it at all. And Godzilla is sleeping through half of this fucking movie. Oh my god. They show you Godzilla whooping ass, and then they show you Godzilla sleeping. And then they show you Godzilla whooping ass, and then they show you Godzilla sleeping. Probably the best human character in this movie is probably Gia, the one character who cannot talk, but she could communicate with all the kaijus, no fucking problem. But seriously, I really don't know what else to say about Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. It was like I said, if you like Godzilla versus Kong, this is up your alley. If you think Godzilla versus Kong was like the worst one in the monster franchise, well, you're going to walk out of this one probably feeling similarly, if not more. I don't know. I think they should take these monsters in separate directions again. I think Godzilla and Kong deserve their own movies. Like, give me Godzilla fighting Gigan and give me Kong fighting something in Hollow Earth. I don't need to see them team up again, because the way they teamed up in this movie reminded me of Batman versus Superman, and not in the fun way either. Like, I literally leaned over to my friend, because here's the thing. Here's spoilers, everybody. Spoilers. The thing that gets Godzilla and Kong to stop fighting each other, because they have a fucking third round fight in Egypt in this movie. The thing that gets them to stop fighting in this movie is Mothra. That's right. Mothra. Mothra appears out of fucking nowhere, right? And Mothra quells them fighting, and then they go down into Hollow Earth, and they promptly beat the shit out of Scar King and Shimu, even though they don't really take care of Shimu. They more or less just beat the piss out of Scar King. But seriously, when Mothra showed up and stopped them from fighting Godzilla and Kong, I leaned over to my friend Terrence, and I was like, it's his Mothra's name, because that's exactly what it was. It was straight up like the Martha moment in BVS. And I'm just like, okay, for a studio that does not want to remind people of a movie they made, they sure as fuck pull from it more than they like to in the last 8 years. 3 out of 5. It's a fine movie. It's not great. It's not terrible. Third act is the best thing about it. But seriously, like Godzilla -1 was leaps and bounds a better Godzilla movie, but this one, it was fine. Like I said, I like Roadhouse more, but you know, fuck me, I'm the odd man out for most.
No! It's just dumb.
Fuck you, Ryan. I know you did that. You're welcome.
What would be great after
Right,
that build at the movies comes up is sponsored by
Yeah.
Roadhouse.
That's where we need our
Roadhouse. You can buy Roadhouse on Amazon.com,
Sponsored by
Amazon Prime.
Roadhouse on Amazon Prime.
What's in your wallet?
Who made that? Which one of you guys made that?
I made that.
Okay, that's brilliant. I like that.
Because I told him, I was like, none of us have seen it, so I might as well make something where it's like, we'll just make you talk about it. Because we're gonna be like, okay, cool, yeah, tight. Okay, so we got a couple more topics to get to, and in a short amount of time. So Dwayne Jackson's got one more comment. He says, Ryan, you are a hater. I agree. I agree. So let's go to our next topic here on the 4Nerds. Where's my segment? Where's my cutaway? Here it is. Let's go. We have an announcement. Craig Gillespie in talks to direct Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Now, this is the same director that did the movie Cruella, which Ryan is a huge fan of.
God, that's a horrible movie.
And then he also did, what was the other one recently he did?
I, Tonya.
I, Tonya.
I haven't seen that one.
It's the sequel to iCarly.
He also did.
I've never seen
good.
He also did. His most recent one he did was Dumb Money on the whole GameStop stock.
Did he? Oh, he did do that, didn't he?
Yeah, he directed and produced that. I think it's on. If you want to see it, I think it's on Netflix.
It's like a documentary.
No, it's not.
It's like a. It's like a
mockumentary.
No, not even that. It's kind of like The Social Network.
Okay,
yeah,
it's kind of like that. A movie inspired by true events. I guess
it's following the guy that was the one kind of talking up GameStop, and then kind of got everyone. Then kind of blew up the stock.
The hedge fund. He basically got people to invest in hedge funds, and it was brilliant because they kind of fucked GameStop and they fucked a couple big hedge fund owners. It was great.
But yeah, that's his. Those three are his three most recent films. So he doesn't have a really big category of work. He's only done like 9 or 10 films total.
Yeah.
He spent
so they don't have to pay him that much.
But he has spent most of his time doing TV commercials. That's where his majority of his work is at.
Well, that's like Zack Snyder.
That's like fucking Suicide Squad, the editors. Oh, that's all
he has done some TV work, but again, the bulk of his work is in television commercials.
All right, well,
he's in top. He didn't get the job. He's in top.
No, this is pretty much confirmed.
I didn't see I, Tonya, and I didn't. What was it? What was the other one he did?
Cruella.
I didn't watch Cruella, but I did see Dumb Money, and I liked
that. Was one of Ryan's top films of 2021.
What's her name?
Emma Stone.
No, not Emma Stone. The one that played the older lady. She was more of a Cruella than.
Oh, I don't know.
The lady that played Mary Poppins. Who is she? She was in Aquaman. She played the
Emily Blunt.
No,
what?
No,
I mean Julie Andrews.
Yes, Julie Andrews.
Emily Blunt. Oh my
what did you say? What movie did you say?
I said Mary Poppins.
She was in.
That's Mary Poppins Returns. Dumb fuck.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. So there you have it, guys. Craig Gillespie in talks to direct Superman Woman of Tomorrow. I'm sure James Gunn will confirm this once it does.
He's either going to confirm or deny it, like the Superman stuff.
Well, and the article goes on to say that they're going to begin filming later this year.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, they're fast tracking Supergirl.
Yep.
Supergirl. I do want to see a Supergirl movie. It's been a while since I've seen one.
Again, we've talked about this. Skirt or no skirt? I mean,
I'm fine either way.
No,
I don't care. Honestly, I don't care if they go for the skirt or not. It really doesn't matter to me.
If they add the skirt, I wouldn't be upset.
I say no skirt. Fuck the skirt.
I mean, because look at Sasha Kaye's outfit. It was just very bland and boring.
It
just
was
looked like
actually. So you know
pajamas.
what? Skirt. Let's go all skirt.
All skirts.
Look at.
I
She's
want
got high.
she's got high
gown.
boots.
We even talked about
boots.
this. We even talked about this. Millie Alcock probably tested in the Supergirl outfit from the TV show. If I had to guess, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
If this is the story you're basing on, I say
Anoints.
go with like this look with the skirt.
Absolutely,
my
right? Like
opinion.
There you go.
if your title of your movie is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and you're basing it off of a very specific comic book of the same name, then yeah, at this point, just kind of go full hog and just do the fucking suit the same way it is in the comic.
Yeah, sure.
I'd like that suit with the S shield that what's his name has Corn Sweat.
Sure, why not? If you're gonna make one alteration to it, sure, the symbol
that
right?
could lead to an
House
altercation.
L.
It could lead to an altercation.
House of L. There it is.
Got it.
And she gets into quite a few altercations in that story. I read it not too long ago.
does.
Oh, that's right. You read it too.
Yeah. No, it was good,
And
I can
Crypto's
see why
with her,
James
right?
Gunn picked it. What's
Yeah.
that? Yeah, Crypto was with her early on.
Yeah.
He's in it towards the
He's
beginning.
in the Superman movie, right? Crypto. They
Allegedly.
Allegedly, he's in the movie. We don't know.
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Now,
Who do you think's cast is that?
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Oh no! No.
Can you imagine? Like, geez.
No, I can't. He burned
how's
too
it
many
going?
bridges over there.
I don't think so. No.
He's like, I guess I can go back to the WCF.
Man,
or
what
whatever
a
the fuck."
shame. He did both Super Pets and Black Adam. Not one of them generated enough of profit to continue forward with
Nope.
anything.
Nope.
But whatever.
Oh well.
now as far as Craig goes, doesn't have a big resume, hasn't done comic book, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe him not having done previous comic book films, he can bring something different to the table.
I think it's a case where, when you look at Cruella, like one of the main, one things that stands out to me is like the costumes, the aesthetic, and the look of the movie. And I think that he wants to get somebody who has a strong sense of that, because of the fact that Woman of Tomorrow takes place in outer space on different planets. I think he wants to make sure he has somebody who makes sure to focus on the aesthetic and the look and the costumes and the, that's not going to throw them off. So,
But will he be given? But do we think he'll get that freedom, or will James Gunn be over his shoulder?
I think James is gonna be over his shoulder.
I think
for a
James Gunn's
project
going to
like
write
this-
the movie.
I think for a project like this, I think for a project like this, you've got James Gunn, you've got Tom King. Both of them are probably looking at this like, okay, if you're making this movie based off of Tom King essentially being like, yeah, this is my book, then maybe we can deviate here, there. But ultimately, I would imagine maybe he might have some freedom. But when you have such a very specific story that you're trying to adapt, I can't imagine there being too much creative freedom. But
Sure.
I don't know.
And
This
that
is-
was sort of the downfall. It wasn't so much, for his Cruella movie. It wasn't that it was directed bad. It just had a bad story. And that was it. That was the only problem that I had with it. I was like, the story didn't need to be told. It wasn't a really good story to begin with. So maybe, like, Phil was saying, Tom King's, you might just be, hey, these are I want my story to be kind of as close to, or the adaptation as close to, my book as possible. Then maybe, Craig doesn't have, has a better story. And if he has a better story, maybe he can shoot it really well. So,
Well, and also too, it's like Cruella and I, Tonya are centered around a lead who's a girl. And I think that, since he's already done 2 films about a lead, focusing on a female lead, I think that's why they were like, yeah, this would also apply to this as well. So, let's
I
go
can
with
see
that.
I can see the logic, but comparing Tanya Harding to Supergirl as far as
Tonya Harding.
I mean, they're both blondes.
I mean,
Come on.
well, that
Tonya
could be your-
had Margot Robbie playing Tonya
Yes,
Harding.
they did.
So
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I agree. Just because that the same actress played Harley Quinn, I don't think that gets you anywhere as far as being able to create a good Supergirl movie.
will Supergirl cameo in the new Superman or tease?
More than likely.
I think it'll be a credit scene. I think that's all.
I think why else would they have cast her before even the movie went to shoot?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. right?
Why? Okay, even more specifically, why was she cast while they were casting for Superman Legacy?
I think that not only is she going to make a cameo in this film, I think that she'll have a small role in this film.
I agree.
I think it'll be a credit scene.
I think she'll be in the movie, like as a recurring character in the movie, and probably has some stake in the story as well.
Maybe
There has to be some reason why she goes off world.
True.
That or the story of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is a prequel to what we see in this film. That she comes back from that.
It's very possible.
Because if you're going to have
possible.
Crypto, if Crypto's going to be in the movie, it would make more sense that she arrives on Earth with Crypto. And it's like, that's how you introduce them.
She could very well also take off with Crypto too. It could go either way.
I think it's going to be, personally, I think it's going to be a prequel.
I'm right there with you.
It's a standalone story. It's a standalone
I would
story.
love for it to be a prequel personally. I would really like that to be.
To me, it makes more sense because, then he can have the line of like, where have you been? You know what I mean? And then you'll find out later on where she's been. And so, but we'll see how that kind of plays out.
Now, here's the question. If this movie goes into production next, because we know things were shuffled around because of the strikes, what's the next one to go in after it? The Authority? Because that's the only other movie that has a character that is technically cast for that film in it, right?
Yeah.
Like you would have to imagine the Authority would be next up after Supergirl. I think. I don't know.
I know Waller's coming out, but that's on...
Waller's now after Peacemaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ryan wants to talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
That already came
we
out.
We saw it.
We've already seen that movie, so I'm not sure why we're going back. I mean, do you want to talk about the old films? I mean, I don't
old
really
films?
get.
Oh, Afterlife.
It's already on DVD.
Frozen
actually,
Empire.
So.
That's right.
Oh, Frozen Empire. Well, you said Afterlife, so apparently
I
you're
did.
not
Let's
enthralled
talk
by
Afterlife.
Ghostbusters.
That's actually
well, hold on. Before we even get to that, we have some more news that we need to get to. So just hold your horses. I didn't do it right. There it is. A new Matrix movie is in the works with Drew Goddard writing and directing. It will be the first time the Mike Wazowski won't be directly involved in their creation.
After the last movie, I don't care.
No, Lena's going to be an executive producer on
EP. Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean,
you just said not involved at all.
I'm reading what the caption says. It's not like I made this shit up.
I think it's also new important. Like Boris Kit can say that.
Blame Boris Kit.
How true that actually is remains to be seen. Because obviously, from what I understand, Drew Goddard was the one who brought this pitch to Warner Brothers, and everyone was like, "Yeah, go for it." You'd have to
Boris Kit.
You would have to imagine that Lana Wachowski fucking signed off on this in some fashion too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why else would she not? I mean, yeah, technically she does get an EP credit for being the creator of the franchise too. But at the same time, who are they going to recast as James Gunn? Q, please enlighten me.
Aaron Bailey will recast.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I'm all for this. I think The Matrix could use a fresh set of eyes. Not to say that I did not dislike Resurrections, but I do think
like Simon Cowell.
It does.
No, I don't think so.
I think that this has the potential to be not just another Matrix film, but I would imagine it wouldn't surprise me if this turned out to be a Matrix reboot. Yeah.
Okay, so it's interesting you say that because in the article anywhere, it did not at all specify if it was like a reboot or a retelling or another sequel. I feel like this very well could just be another story in the world that was established by the first 4 films, but I don't know.
Matrix reformatted.
The Matrix defragged.
This is going to take a while.
It's a slow burn. But I mean, if it's a side story of the Matrix
command prompt, what?
If it's a side story of the Matrix, I don't know if I want to see it. I mean, is Keanu Reeves? I mean, the last film he looked old as fuck. He looked.
Well, they didn't even clarify if Carrie-Anne Moss or Keanu Reeves were going to come back. So
I don't think they will. I mean,
wouldn't. I'd do a John Wick 12 before I did a fucking another Matrix movie.
It would not surprise me if this turned out to be a reboot and they just restart the franchise over again. And who gives a shit?
I don't know.
So they're going to go the way of like Terminator Genesis. We had Genesis, then you had Dark Fate, and then I mean, it was just like, just can't get it right.
Okay, you know what? Speaking of Terminator, I'm glad that Netflix is doing an animated series based on the second movie. I think like they're doing like kind of an animated series that kind of pulls from.
That's the best way to approach Terminator is
At
to
this
go
point,
animated.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, at this point, you can't. If you go live action, you're gonna fuck it up unless you dump a ton of fucking money into it.
Or
and
you just
then,
reboot it like James Cameron wants to.
yeah, but even then, it's like if you reboot Terminator and you do another Terminator movie, the first one, it's like unless they make some kind of plot twist, like you already know what's gonna happen. Like, okay, we're just gonna retread the same thing, but now we're gonna have better special effects.
That gets so old just to retread that particular. That's why they keep coming up with like, okay, you got to always have an upgraded Terminator, and you always have to have Skynet.
Well,
always
that's
has
why
to be
Salvation like was so cool. Like they had the right idea. It just was executed so
They
poorly.
could
But
have made like what they could have done was they could have deviated and made like alternate Terminator movies in different parts of the world. Like what would have happened somewhere else, you know? And
Like
they
not
tried
really have
that
to be
with
John
Brazil.
centric.
Yeah.
what was that one movie where the aliens attack Earth?
Oh, Independence Day.
No, where they have that light and
Oh,
people look at
yeah,
it and they get sucked into it.
No.
Um,
Oh, you're talking about like
Skyline.
Oh,
They made a part 2 to
First
that. where it was-
Contact.
No idea.
No, in Skyline they made a sequel where they were in like another part of the country, and it was just really fucking dumb. And then they were in Thailand at the end fighting them. It was just like, oh god. I mean, it was not a theatrical film.
Yeah, I don't
anyway,
know.
so.
Most
I
of our
like
products are made in Thailand.
I like
China,
Salvation
Taiwan.
a fair bit. I like it more than Terminator 3, but I do kind of agree that the execution of it was not so great. I feel like
they had all the right ingredients and all the like they had the right idea. It's just fucked.
Yeah. That's
But not only that, but like even what's his name? Common was saying how and he said it was cool. He was like, yeah, actually the fun part about it was that like, you know, as we were filming this movie, we were actually like, you know, we were adding ideas and writing new scenes for the movie as it was being made. And I'm just like, that's a recipe for disaster, dude. But okay. And you can see it. I mean, like, but there were aspects that I fucking love about that movie. I loved it. I loved how they were using, you know, like actual military, you know, jets and machine guns. And, you know, it was the beginning leading into that future war. And then, or even the fact that when he wanted to capture that Moto Terminator, he puts on his boombox, he plays the tape, and it's You Could Be Mine. I was like, fuck yeah, that's a great callback. But then it just at the end when he got stabbed in the heart, I was like, okay.
Well, they also like go all the way back to T1 when Kyle Reese is talking about how the T600s had rubber skin over them. They show you that deliberately in this movie. And I was like, that's a perfect callback if you're familiar with the franchise. And then
they also had I mean, when Sam Worthington's like, hey. And then he, you know, Kyle Reese runs over and like pushes him down, and he tells him, "Come with me if you want to live." You know what I mean? Things like that. We were just like, "Oh, dope! There he is." And I'm sorry, Anton, I forgot his last name.
Merriweather.
Antoine Yelkin.
Yeah, he played a really good Kyle Reese. I was like, dude, this kid's fucking nailing it. And unfortunately, he passed away after the movie was made. But he was really good as Kyle Reese. I was like, dude, this guy's nailed it.
Going back to Matrix, like. That's the question, right? Like, could we get a reboot? Could we get a continuation? I'm not entirely sure, but as far as that article, the news broke, nowhere cited was the word reboot or sequel. So it's kind of vague at this point. I'm sure once we get a little closer to when they ramp up production or whatever, we'll probably see what will come from this. But I can guarantee you it's probably going to be a theatrical release, especially if Warner Brothers is so confident in this after
the Matrix?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It'll be a theatrical release because this is one
100%.
If it's a lot of special effects, you're gonna have it in IMAX and all that shit. Guys, we have 41 viewers watching right now. If you're watching on X, make sure that you follow all of our accounts on X as well, including the one you're watching on, which is Nimwa32. It's Dawson's account. And guys, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by becoming a member of the channel. And we want to thank everyone who is a member of the channel. And you can follow us right there on Twitter with those handles. It looks like Dawson has 2. Oh, no, that's on Instagram and TikTok. So definitely check us all out because we are nonstop providing content on our social media accounts. And if you want to follow Phil, he's on Threads.
That's true.
What's that about?
What?
But no, the 4Nerds logo. I was like, okay.
Oh no,
It's like a bookend. There we go.
I clicked that.
Okay. Oh, okay. Before we wrap things up, Ryan wanted to talk about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you saw it, right?
No.
You saw it.
I watched
I
it.
haven't seen it.
I watched it.
No, Phil saw it.
No,
Sean
haven't.
haven't seen it.
No,
Okay.
but I've heard so much about it already, so it's like I've already.
Oh,
seen it.
okay.
Dawson is out on assignment, Dwayne.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
yes.
on assignment.
We have him looking for. We have him on a scavenger hunt.
Still looking for those.
He's very thrilled to be on that assignment. He's diving into it. So anyway, there he is.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So he's out. Yes, he's out. But anyway, so Frozen Empire. I know Phil, talked about it last week on the show. I got to see it this week. I thought that it was okay. And it wasn't better than Afterlife. I thought Afterlife was treated with a little bit more care because, it was the first film, kicking off or whatever. And I think that this one sort of was more akin to trying to be a little bit more campy and a little bit more like the real Ghostbusters television or animated show than trying to, keep expanding on the lore and all that. It had some really cool elements in it. I didn't understand why they, kept or the reasons for, some of the cast staying or moving to New York or whatever, and how they were utilized. It had an addition of a new Ghostbuster, I guess, tech team. And that was kind of cool. And they had a new little facility and all that. And that was, oh no.
Breaking news.
Oh no.
fuck.
All right, let's turn to that because that seems a little more juicy.
You know what? You had one where he was. Remember, you said that image where he was in court.
Oh, he was. Yeah, I did. I don't think I still have that.
That
That's
would be
long
perfect.
time
Poor
ago.
Dawson.
Perfect.
Went from riding a roller coaster to being caught up in a raid.
P Diddy.
But yeah, so there wasn't. I remember Phil saying something about the villain or whatever in this show, and they didn't really kind of stick to it. It was sort of kind of like he got his horns back and he kind of walked around, and then there was it was very anticlimactic, and I thought it could have been better. I thought they could have really taken it. Even if you compare the lion statues with the devil dogs from the previous versions or whatever, it's just like, dude, these statues are boring. Shooting in the butt didn't really. It was just everything about this movie was very underwhelming. I thought that there were some really cool ideas. I liked the family dynamic, but I didn't like how it was just like, oh, we're just Ghostbusters and everybody's cool now and we're all, just kind of like it felt very what do you call it? From Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when they're like in the ship and they're all singing and dancing and everybody's singing and dancing to whatever. It was just that kind of campy goofball shit. And I was like, this is just really, what am I watching here? This isn't a Ghostbusters film. This is Ghostbusters 2 is actually, but treats it a little bit more. I don't want to say with respect, but I don't know. It was an okay film. Better than Roadhouse. Yes. Ryan is monologuing. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. But yeah, so that's sort of my take on the film. It was an okay. No one really had a good character arc. There wasn't a lot going on. So that's kind of it for us tonight. And as we're at the 2-hour mark, I want to thank Sean.
Well, hold on. We still have one more topic to talk about that we
I'm
put
done.
on the damn thumbnail and
He's like,
everything
I'm
else.
done.
Was we didn't talk about X-Men 97. Episode 4.
Oh, well, you can watch Andre's show and he'll have a recap of that.
Sean was there too.
Sean was there, yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, yeah, go right ahead. I haven't seen it.
Ryan has to go. So.
Yeah, I gotta go. See you later.
So we'll allow Andre to do a better promo for X-Men 97. Oh, boy.
Wow.
What is that noise?
Hold on. Sorry about that.
All right, well, that's going to wrap things up for the show. Check out X-Men 97 on Disney Plus, where you can watch Sean and I watch it over on Twitch. And
I liked it. It was fine.
It was good. I mean,
good.
it wasn't a bad episode. It just
No.
when you compare it to the other three, it wasn't as good as the other three, but it was still it wasn't a bad episode. And I was telling Sean, I think that like the way they introduce characters is a lot like the comics, where it's just like after one story ends, the next villain comes in right away. You know what I mean? And so
Sure.
I feel like I'm watching like an animated comic book, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. I mean, I liked. Well, I don't really want to like spoil it too much, but like, you know, they split this episode up kind of into two different parts, and I feel like the second part was a little more stronger than the first one. The first one just kind of felt like good filler because, you know, I like the character Sunspot. I was never really a big Jubilee fan even in the original series, but like I like that she kind of went through a bit of an arc there, but even still it just kind of felt like, oh, we kind of need to take some time to get, you know, in between what we're doing with the other characters. And I do like that the second part of the episode focused on what's going on with Storm, because obviously, you know, in episode 2 with what happens with her just really struck a chord with a lot of people. And I feel like now we're getting more of that, and this is part 1 of that infamous story where she does go through that shit. So it was cool. Like it was good, but as far as like if I had to rank the 4 episodes as it stands right now, my ranking probably goes 2, 3, 1, 4. As far as just X-Men 97 episodes go,
I would agree. I would
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
because
Definitely.
episode 3 was dope as fuck.
Yeah, when they brought
Like-
in the Goblin Queen. Yeah.
Oh, dude, Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen, all that shit, Mr. Sinister, like all this shit was just dope as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that the way this episode ends, we're gonna get a little bit more sinister. I suppose would be the best way to say it.
Oh yeah, I forgot Invincibles tonight.
Nobody cares.
I like Invincible, so I'm gonna watch that tonight for sure.
But tune in on Wednesdays because we do a pre and post of X-Men 97. We also do the watch party over on Twitch and X. So
There you go.
So definitely
make sure to
check
check
that
it
out.
out every Wednesday up until the last episode 10, which is I think mid-May.
Yeah, I wasn't awake.
Which 8, 9, and 10 is a 3-parter. So that will
Yeah.
be interesting to see how that plays out. So
Yeah, it was certainly like I'm sorry I couldn't. I woke up at like 3:00 Pacific time and I was just like I couldn't even like I was already like in bed by the time you guys.
I
were
haven't
doing
been to
the
bed
watch.
yet.
Oh,
Andre-
really?
I haven't been to bed yet. So Andre and I finished.
Holy
up,
shit! I
Yeah, I've
slept
been
for
up
like
this-
10 hours.
I've been up this whole
Fuck.
time. So Andre and I, I would think for we ended like we're almost like 1:45 to 1:50. I was
Don't
wide.
do it, Phil.
I
Don't do
went
it.
to my office, worked until about 2:15, came back to my streaming room, played some Battlefield 2042, and I looked
Oh,
over. I'm
nice.
like, well, it's 4:30, and I gotta get my wife up in an hour. So I'm like, well, what's the point of trying to go to bed for an hour? So I got her up, and then it's just like now I'm in my normal day. So yeah, I haven't been to bed yet. So
Dope.
Dope.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to going to bed tonight.
I'm
Dope.
sure you need it. You
I've
definitely
had 4 Monsters and 5 Crush grape sodas. So keep it
Fuck,
going
man!
today.
Here comes a heart attack
Dude.
waiting for you.
I'm waiting for
Right?
the sugar crash to really take hold of me.
And that should put you out tonight.
That will put me out. For
Oh,
sure.
it probably will. I don't doubt that one bit.
Well, guys, that's
All right,
going to do it
guys.
for the show. I want to thank everyone who came out today. I want to thank Ryan who came out as well. And I'd say let's go around the horn, but we kind of had that slide that shows all that.
Yep.
But
Definitely.
there it is right there where you can find all of us on social media. So definitely check that out. And what do you guys have going on for the rest of the week? Anything going on, going live anywhere?
I will probably be doing some Twitch streaming over the weekend. I'm sure I will. Other than that, not too much else. I know Craig and I just did another episode of The Eternal Night. We go over Batman's 85th anniversary, the Penguin trailer, a couple other things. So
Awesome.
look for that on Podbean. If you guys already haven't, be much appreciated. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay.
No, I've just been doing joining Enosh over on the Point Extra Lounge for his daily show. So
Right
if you haven't checked out his show, he's getting back into it after taking a little bit of I'll call it a sabbatical from streaming, but he's getting back into the routine doing daily show. So I've been on over there as much as I can. So I believe we'll have a show again tomorrow.
Nice.
All right. And then I'll be live again tonight for the Dre Area Sports Show, joined by my brother and my brother-in-law. We'll be live tonight at 10 p.m. Pacific time. And then again, I'll be live Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. For another episode of the Dre Area Sports Show with another YouTuber by the name of Ryan G. Hensley. So we'll be on there talking about the Niners. And, of course, tonight we'll be talking about the Niners, the Giants, and a little bit of Warriors as well because the Giants are going to be taking on the Dodgers. So we're going to be talking about that. So, guys, until next time, we will see you back here again on the 4Nerds. Where's the actual thing at? Oh, there it is. I got lost in my own thing here.
Great
All
outro.
right.
Great outro.
Beautiful outro.
Peace.